to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth? Counselor Angeloni?
Here.
Counselor Caprio?
Here.
Counselor Diamond?
Here.
Counselor Fawnin?
Here.
Counselor Fucy?
Here.
Counselor Hodgson?
Here.
Counselor Rose?
Here.
Motion to approve the minutes from the June 17, 2014 regular town council meeting.
So moved with the following corrections. On page 2, under item 2C, it should be Kim Newbig instead of Kenneth Newbig. On page 5, under item 8, triple I, the roof ventilators. It says here, and begin by removing the new ventilators. The roofer wouldn't be removing the new ones. He's removing the old and going to put the new ones in place. And on page 9, item G, the motion, it was moved by Councilor Angeloni and seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth.
Give me a second.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilor Angeloni, seconded by Councilor Fucy. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Abstain.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Abstain.
Water Pollution Control Authority agenda. Item 3, correspondence, citizen statements. Item 4, unfinished business. Item 5, new business. Item 6, citizen statements and petitions. Regular town council meeting. Reports of committees, boards, and commissions. Item A, Economic Development Commission.
Yeah, the Economic Development Commission met last night, and the group is working at taking a look at drafting up an appraisal language for an RFP for the parcel at 1599 Foxen Road. Hopefully, we'll have a draft come back for their next meeting, which is scheduled for August 4th. Beyond that, it looks like September 8th, Professor Plattis will have the design renderings available in terms of conceptual drawings for the project. And then the committee was talking about trying to coordinate from that point, either the August or September meeting, probably the August meeting, looking at a date to try and get a date set for the next charrette in the fall and begin to put the final report together and then ultimately to an RFP.
Are we still doing the appraisal too on the property?
Yeah, I mean, that's their recommendation is that they, it would be good to have a bit, sort of a base value to know if, when we get to the point where a developer comes in and says, we know at least it's worth X amount of dollars, that we're not getting a lowball offer just as is. And certainly I think we'll use that as a sort of a gauge, as a base to begin the discussions.
Okay. Item B, Permanent Project Building Committee.
Our next meeting is next Monday, the 14th, and now that the high school roof has been started, we already approved and had an 824 referral on the TVS roof project, and I'll make sure that that now becomes part of their agenda and they start that project, because it took 6 to 8 months to get everything done for the high school. So if we want to get this project going for next summer, they really need to start doing that now. So.
Okay. Item C, Board of Education and North Branford Town Council Communications Subcommittee. Looks like minutes approval. And just for the record, I received a phone call regarding the next meeting. If someone would like to contact Marcy to see.
Okay.
Put on the agenda for the next.
All right, the next meeting is scheduled for next Monday. That's our regularly scheduled meeting, so.
Item D, POCO Festival update.
Yeah, that's moving along. There are no major issues that I'm aware of at this point. Everything is running ahead. Met with Roseanne and Pam, sit down with Michelle Knockwood also in terms of purchasing the vendor forms, insurances, and things like that we're all going through. Also held another meeting with Fran and Pam over at the police department with the chief to talk about coverage and traffic with respect to the scheduling of officers and things of that nature. So they've had other meetings in terms of their organization. I think at this point it's just a call for volunteers, I guess, is sort of the major issue. But other than that, no red flags, nothing, everything's moving along.
Good. Thank you. All right.
You do have, I'm sorry, I think you also have a envelope packet inviting you to the sponsors event. Yeah. So that's in your folder.
All right, item C, school projects update. Bill Chody. There he is. Hi, Bill.
Where would you like me to start?
Wherever.
Wherever you'd like.
Okay,
At the beginning.
let's start with the roof ventilators. The roof ventilators, the list has been provided to the town manager. The pricing has been greatly changed from what our original estimate was going to be. We are on the preferred buyer list, and also because it's such a large quantity, we received a discount for that. Granger, who we're working with as one of our vendors, is on the state bid list, and they are telling us that all are available. They are just in different parts of the country. They would have to bring them into North Haven, and then from North Haven they would come to us. So whenever we get whatever direction we're going to get from the council as to the purchase, then we'll move forward on that.
Well, we already gave the direction at the last council meeting that it's a Board of Ed, the Board of Ed can proceed with the bidding or however they're gonna do it, get the quotes on it and go ahead and order and have them here so that they're here in time so that the roofer can install them.
Okay,
So, because the money's all set, everything else is done with that.
very good.
You're good to go.
Okay. The bathrooms in the high school restrooms. We have been talking with Tom Hibbard, who is your architect for the high school roof. He is on the correct list of available architects and architectural services. So we looked at the scope of his services, and we looked at what we were looking for in the schools as a possible design. So right now, from what Tom has given me, and if we're gonna proceed forward with this architect, we would probably have to do some kind of schematic design to bring it to the building department, because we're looking to upgrade and update to an ADA type of bathroom. The problem is the walls still exist, and some of those walls do not fit into the ADA criteria as it is written and outlined. So we would need to go to the building department to get dispensation or a blessing that, okay, you can go this far with this, but you can't necessarily call it a handicap bathroom. So that's something that we're gonna have to work out with Tom and with the architect to see, how far and how well we can get to the ADA requirements for these bathrooms.
Bill, are there any ADA bathrooms there now in the building or no?
Not in the high school.
I thought you put some in though.
We call it an ADA type bathroom. It has the 36-inch door. It has the 5-foot stall. It has many of the attributes of a ADA bathroom, but because of where the walls were put in 1964, they weren't even thinking of these issues. So some places where the door is supposed to open, it's supposed to have 2 foot of clearance on one side of it, we only have a foot. So there's certain parts of this that we're gonna have to discuss with the building department.
But there was one,
We
right?
have provided accessibility.
Accessibility.
Don, could you come up though? I'm sorry. So you know.
I didn't dress.
Just for people at home.
I'm sure they want to see me. We did provide accessibility in a boys' bathroom so that the student that needed it was able to use the bathroom. That doesn't mean it's really fully ADA compliant, and I think that's really what Bill is saying. Our plan was to do the same thing for a girls' room because we're going to need that in this coming school year. Obviously, if we move some of this forward, we may be able to get to full ADA compliance in some of the bathrooms. We may not in all of them. I'm not sure that, I don't believe that's a requirement that every last bathroom has to be. So, I mean, I think we can make the facility acceptable, but that's the reason we need the architect to look at it.
So by having to go to an architect and do all that stuff, will you still be able to get the bathrooms done during the summer time?
I'm guessing that we would not get all of them done.
Okay.
But once they come up with a template, the bathrooms are relatively similar. So, you know,
Yeah,
we
but,
may be able to roll it out fairly quickly.
And do you think you'll be able to stay within your estimate, or do you know at this point in time, or nothing's
And
been?
that was a budget grade estimate, so now that we're gonna actually get plans, we'll find out when we put it out to bid.
Okay.
So he's presently just doing his work, the architect work, laying out the bathrooms, basically.
Yeah.
So it's possible, it might not even happen in this year.
Well, what will happen is we will at least do the same thing
That you did in the other one.
to one girls' room that we did to one boys' room, but that's not an expensive project.
Okay.
Because basically all we did was make sure the doorway was wide enough to provide access and do a couple of other cosmetic things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
And finally, the update on the track. We were given the names of 2 track providers from your purchasing department. Both of them were contacted. I met with them. We talked about the holes in the track, the cracks, the delamination of the track surface, products being the type of products that we can use on the track, and the life expectancy, and also what kind of warranties were available. So with those discussions with those 2 gentlemen, they're supposed to get back to us with a proposal, and they're supposed to get back to us with how CREC works in their view, and how we can use them as opposed to a bidding process or just going with a number. And right now, I'm just waiting for their proposals to show up. But we did meet.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Any questions?
I think everybody's good. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Bill.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the town manager's report. Item A, the Connecticut Solar Challenge. Maggie, Trustee
Tonight,
update.
we have an item here to talk about the solar challenge that we embarked on and partnered with, and Maggie's here tonight. I want to point to your attention to, in the folder, is a flyer about Energize Connecticut, and there's a save the date there for the North Branford Energy event, which will be held August 9th at Duties to tuck it in from 12 to 3. So there's a flyer there. And Maggie's here to update the council on the progress the town has made, and I'm happy to report it's very good news, but I'll let her give you the numbers.
So on April 22nd, we held our solar workshop, our first one, at MBIS, and more than 100 people came out to join us and learn about solar and the benefits of going solar now in this town. And I wanted to show you, I have 2 packets. Well, I have 1 packet for you, and I have the letter that I had sent out to all the residents, and we got a 5% return with sending this letter. It only went out to the North Branford half of North Branford. So it didn't go out to the Northford section, and we still got that amount of people. We later sent a letter out to the Northford people, and we had a much smaller crowd, which we understood why. But we held 3 workshops in all. This is the letter. And this is a packet, and I'm loading this one, I'm sorry. So, as of today, we had raised 114 kW in this town, which is really good. That earns your town a 2 kW system on 1 municipal building. And in combination with that, you are up to 68 points with CEFIA, which is the Clean Energy Finance Investment Authority. And with the 68 points, you're 32 points away from earning a 1 kW system through them. And I don't think that they've updated their board since I have come in with my new numbers. So as soon as that's updated, we'll find out if you guys have qualified for the 1 kW system, but the points don't go away, so it's still there. I'm in midway of the program, so we still have until October to raise another 100 kW, which we're hoping. And on the second page, you're gonna see all of the events that we have been doing here in North Branford. We were at the Van Waldron's Expo. We were at the Memorial Day Parade along with Energize Connecticut. We did our 3 workshops, 1 in the library on the North Branford side and 1 at the Northford side. And we collaborated with MBIS 7th grade science teachers and held a solar workshop for the kids. We even allowed them to borrow one of our solar panels so that the kids can kind of see how it works in action. We attached fans to the top of the solar panel, and as long as you're getting sun, the fans are actually working. And as soon as the kids were standing in front of it, it was going off. So they had a lot of fun with it and learning all about the environmental benefits. We are going to, our next steps are the Potato and Corn Festival. We're going to collaborate with Energize Connecticut on an energy campaign at Duties, and that is August 9th, as Mike had said. And then we're going to, we're also looking to other local vendors, such as Country Paint and Hardware, where they have a kids' day, and we're going to come and do something that will, a demo for the kids on that day. We're going to start our solar tours, which are the people who had gone solar already here in town. We're going to have a tour of their property so that other people and their neighbors can find out the benefits of going solar. And then we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony at the end of it to find out where you guys are going to put your 2 kW system. So I'm really happy to report this because I know that there was a little bit of doubt that we were going to have such a great turnout, but we really did. This town is amazing. I'm glad that I got to be part of this solar challenge with you guys. So if there's any questions, that's my report.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So the 2 kW building that or system that the town gets, like what size building or what could you do with that?
Well, what I would suggest anybody do is we're going to leave you with plenty of room for growth, and we would suggest that you put it on the best conditions in town with hope that you can continue this kind of movement and add to it. So even if the state doesn't come through right now, or Cephia, you will eventually get the 1 kW system. It's going to happen, and at that point, you'll be able to just tack it on rather than the expenses of an inverter and everything else, because we're gonna leave you with plenty of room to grow.
So it's really about adding panels?
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
yep. And we can add to an existing one. We can't add to a power purchase agreement, which is probably what, if that's something that you would do for the schools, that's probably what you're gonna do. But we can add to, like the firehouse or wherever you guys would find best suited. Just let me know.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, town positions and vacancies.
I just wanted to give you a quick update on where we stand with the vacancies for planner, secretary 1 position, and the ZEO. Not much luck on the ZEO. That's going to have to be re-advertised. Again, part-time position, no benefits. It's, I think, going to be more difficult, obviously, than the other 2 positions. In the secretary 1 position, there were 260 applicants, and so we're going through, that just will close last week, just before the holiday. So we're going through and sorting that and be doing a review, and then we'll have the, as part of the component, a skills assessment test, if you will, and then interview process. So we'll have dates, so that'll be ongoing.
Where is that position open?
That is the position where there was a termination.
Was that rec center, or where is
Yeah.
it? Rec center.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know where it was.
So there was
And
no internal transfers?
There will be, but
okay.
that's being held in place until a suitable candidate is found, and be able to do some crossover training.
So
and
the
then
ultimate
release.
applicant will not be Park Rec?
Right, the ultimate applicant will be going to building, in the building department. The building secretary will be transferring laterally to rec department.
Okay.
And on the town planner side, approximately 26 applications selected. Kurt has helped me in the review process there, and we're going to interview 6 candidates next week. And again, hoping to find the right match within those candidates. And as the council was looking to communicate or to review or look at, interview the 2 finalists. And I don't think that's a problem, it's just the timing. So, it leads into one of the other items on the agenda, 13A, about, potentially bringing in a consultant to help us through, because the next meeting isn't until August 12th. We'll have the interviews, and we'll know pretty quick next week if we've
So
got.
when do you think you'll be hiring, by September?
Well, yeah, theoretically, probably at the earliest September, if all goes through. But if the council still has that desire to meet with the 2 finalists, then we'll do that
Definitely.
and proceed after August.
But if we had to, we could have a special
Oh,
meeting
yeah.
just for that purpose, to move things along if you had 2
Absolutely.
candidates. correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the person could be on board sooner rather than later.
Good.
Okay.
Yep, so that's where we stand, and those are scheduled for next week for the planner anyway.
Item 9, community events and presentations. Item 10, citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence.
I'd like to make a statement as a citizen. I've been in education a long time, and I have to say, I was extremely impressed with the high school graduation. I think that this town council and community should be very, very proud of the students. I've never heard more articulate speakers, behavior-wise. I've gone to many, many graduations in my days in education, and I say that North Branford should be very proud of its students and its staff. And what a beautiful graduation ceremony it was. I really think, and I think you would agree with me. It was
Definitely.
wonderful.
The band, too, was wonderful.
The band was
Yeah,
terrific, the chorus, everything was
Yeah.
just wonderful.
I agree. Thank you. Item 11, resignations and appointments. Not sure what to do with this here. So I don't know.
Well, we'll just accept her resignation.
Yeah. So, I mean, item A was a reappointment, but today I received a letter from Deb Ferraro resigning from Has Waste. So, I guess we'll skip item A and go to B, which will be Michael Martin to Has Waste Recycling Committee. Reappointment term to expire 12/31.
So moved.
Well, wait,
Well,
this
the
date
terms are
isn't
wrong.
right, because it's, well, it says 12/31/12, and we're in 14.
Right.
It's 13.
They all say 12 except for the last two.
Yeah, these,
There, yeah.
so we'll
I
have
think
to
it's because
fix-
they've been serving without having been
So that's,
reappointed.
Yeah.
so that their new term expires when? That's,
Right, that's what we need.
this must
Right, I
have
say,
been.
term expired, right, should be, right.
So
Right.
then, so what is it, a 2-year
2-year.
appointment or 3-year?
2-year.
Is it 2 years?
I think 2 years. I think.
Okay, so this term would expire 12/31/14.
We tabled these appointments at the last meeting. The reason was to get approval from the,
Yeah, they, well, then,
so everybody's been approved, but we have resignation.
And the next term will
So
be
just don't appoint her.
2014.
And it'll
Okay,
be an open spot.
right.
all right. So I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Michael Martin to the Has Waste Recycling Committee, term to expire 12/31/14.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Elizabeth Boussard to the Has Waste Recycling Committee, term to expire 12/31/14.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Counselor
Trying to
Angeloni?
get there.
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Reappoint Hank Petrowski to Hazardous Waste Recycling Committee, term to expire 12/31/2016.
No, it would be 14.
14.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Reappointment of Deborah Anderson, Hazardous Waste Recycling Committee, term expiring 12/31/2014.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Reappoint, let's see, Thomas Galvo to Hazardous Waste Recycling Committee, term to expire 12/31/2015.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Reappoint Donna Cordone, Hazardous Waste Recycling Committee, term expiring 12/31/2015.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to accept the resignation with regrets from Deb Ferraro from the Has Waste Committee.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Caprio. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
There is an opening. Yeah.
I'd like to add to the agenda the appointment of the planning and zoning alternate. Who's the person that work? No, who are we appointing? Who are we? So we're gonna amend the agenda for an appointment. Okay.
So I need a second.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Counselor Angeloni. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
All right, so this is an appointment of Deb Ferraro as an alternate to planning and zoning. And I don't know, I'm gonna have to check when the term expires, I'm not sure.
We'll have to check that.
Yeah. We'll table that and check it.
I'll move table.
So table that appointment, because I don't know.
What's going on? That we don't have the date, or?
No, it seemed like we appointed somebody last month. We'll have to check the terms.
Well,
Why don't we just table it for now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I moved to table. Second.
I guess we're gonna table it.
Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Okay. All right, item 12, unfinished business, discussion, and action. Item A, update to the defined benefit plan documents, police union, it's been tabled, continued, table. Item B, the CMed update and RFP.
Yeah, well, let me start by saying that we attended, I attended with Chief Seward another meeting today of the executive committee to work out some of the things that have been happening with the organization since the last meeting, and reported on our action. It is still a functioning organization and working on a month-to-month basis. So all towns are in at this point, trying to work to save it if at all possible. And there were some new developments today that the subcommittees or one subcommittee led by the mayor of West Haven is working on, and they reported that they are in talking with Yale, and also we've got to look at some other considerations. And I think my struggle is here that it was executive session stuff that I can't really get into detail. So I think that I would offer that I think the council should go into at some point, probably a next meeting or sooner, or tack on tonight, an executive session to so I can speak freely to you in terms of what's transpiring there. And I think it would be helpful to if Bill's available, to invite Chief Seward in as well, because he's covering some of the technology meetings, and they're having that technology meeting on Friday morning, as this is an ever-evolving process. But essentially, it's being held together on a month-to-month, and I think they issued our 1/12 of a share, monthly share in terms of bill. So there is work going on there. So I think
Did we pull out of there in June or no?
well, we issued a letter in terms of preparation, but that was in looking at whether New Haven has not officially given any indication or made a decision, nor has West Haven. So they're at this point, waiting and evaluating what to do.
When
So
is
what
this
we're
other
doing-
company up and running?
So what we're doing is paying the month to month?
AMR, right?
Right, AMR, right, their decision, it's either gonna be CMed, they stay with CMed, or they go with AMR. And they haven't made that decision yet, so.
Right, and AMR is building a whole new company to do this, right?
Well, they have a facility that they have extra space in that we toured that they could accommodate, certainly New Haven, West Haven, and a few other towns for sure. We've seen the layout, they have the technology, and they're, farther advanced than what exists currently at CMed, so,
So, why don't we just wait till exec session and take care of it?
yeah.
All right.
Should make an amendment
Now?
to the agenda. Yeah, I don't think the current executive sessions comprehend the discussion that you're talking about right now, so you should make a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add item 15C, CMed update.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond? Yes. Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Okay, item C, senior center possible reuse. Item I, food bank. Item 2, bookstore library. These are 2 items carried over from our last meeting, and I think there's more questions, and good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to follow along with some notes again, I always do. My name is Lynn Reardon, I live at 33 Drell Farm Road. I would like to thank you once again for the green light giving us the opportunity to house the food pantry at the old senior center. We have been very, very busy, and I'm very excited to update you on all that we have done since we last met. The name of our food pantry will be the Food Pantry of North Branford. We filed a filing service request and a certificate of incorporation with the Secretary of State. I am proud to report the state has accepted our business filing, approving the Food Pantry of North Branford as a business, and the IRS has issued us our employee identification number. Allison DePaola is working on the bylaws and preparing our tax-exempt application, and the process includes naming a committee and listing our board members whom have already been identified. We look forward to being declared a nonprofit. The status will allow us to be affiliated with the Connecticut Food Bank, where food can be purchased for 14 cents a pound after we pay our portion of a shared maintenance fee, which covers the cost of storage and shared maintenance and transportation. Items such as fresh produce, bread, and certain dairy items would be free. Since the idea of the pantry was so well received by our community, inundating many of us with emails, phone calls, and messages, I created a database listing almost 70 people who asked to volunteer. We contacted Michael Kraus from Anderson Kraus in Branford regarding liability insurance. I have a quote for $10,000 content coverage, $1 million liability, and $1 million for employers' non-ownership liability coverage. We opened an account at TD Bank, and we are excited to learn that once we procure our nonprofit status, every person who mentions our pantry when opening a bank at TD Bank will donate $50. A P.O. box in North Branford was leased. We have an email address. A letter was drafted, and when finalized by our committee, it will be sent to North Branford residents and businesses. The letter will begin our appeal for financial support, asking those who are able to mail in monetary donations to P.O. Box 403, North Branford. A local artist is working on our logo. The verbiage of our mission statement is in progress. Shelves and storage units have been well chosen with the expertness of Earl Norwood and Ray Regan. We looked at services currently offered by our neighboring towns. I personally love Guilford's Project Sustainability, which assists the Guilford Food Bank. North Guilford Nurseries donated free vegetable plants. The donated plants were given to Guilford residents, asking the residents to donate 50% of the harvest to the Guilford Food Bank. Considering we have so many farms in town, I thought this project was both fantastic and doable. Many donations have been made available by local businesses, which validate, once again, what a special community we live in. We have been offered a new oil tank to include installation. A company has offered to demo the existing crumbling ramp and donated concrete for a new one. We have received a donation of time and expertise to pour a new wheelchair-accessible ramp. A local business will provide all interior paint. Matt's Mission Fund's contribution was the pantry's first deposit of $10,000. A certified and well-insured and fully insured electrician has offered his services. The chipping lead exterior paint on the old senior center is an environmental concern. Therefore, I met with a painter and I asked for a quote to remove the hazardous paint, power wash the building to include the roof, to apply oil-based prime, fresh paint, and more. We have obtained a copy of the painter's liability insurance and certificate showing proof of lead safety for renovation, repair, and painting. The quote is $10,000. To be clear, we are not asking for financial assistance from the town to paint. If the town of North Branford would like to help us with our efforts, we would be grateful. However, we are prepared to work hard and raise funds for this project. This gentleman is prepared to roll up the sleeves of his hazmat suit and get to work in the August heat. I have provided a contract for your review.
First of all, let me shake your hand because I failed to do so last time. I'm sorry. Where's this one? Thank you.
Being considerate of time, I would just say we have quite a following, and there are many local businesses and churches who have offered to help. I love living in North Branford, and it is obvious that we all care about our North Branford families. All the same, we are very behind the times. All surrounding towns have been providing excellent services for their residents for a very long time, to include wealthier towns such as Greenwich, Fairfield, Guilford, and Madison. Most recently, there was an article in the Sound which made clear Branford's summer program offering free breakfast and lunch to all children in need up to 18 years old. And I just heard tonight that they're doing the same thing in East Haven. We are willing to obtain and maintain liability insurance. We would like to pay $1 a year in rent. Considering the food pantry of North Branford will assist so many residents, it is our hope that North Branford will extend this courtesy. We need to get the food pantry of North Branford up and running without delay. I am on vacation next week, and I was hoping to get to work. The Friends of the Library have the access to the building without insurance or a lease. We are asking the same consideration. We have momentum, and we are ready to move. I am very competitive, and I suggest we do just that if we are going to get back in the game. I am already looking forward to next month's report. I know you will be proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple follow-up points. We realize that work on a new ramp for handicap access would certainly have to comply with all town codes and ordinances, and I'm sure that Fran Marola or Kurt Weiss could certainly ensure that that occurs. Secondly, I would hope that any work or services that will be donated would not have to go out to bid, and that as long as it was a certified and properly licensed person, it's someone the town would consider and allow to do the work. We understand that there are rules and regulations that must be followed. We're certainly prepared to follow those rules and regulations. And I think what we'd like to emphasize, what we're showing is just in a few short weeks, we're ready to go. So we thank you for your consideration. Any questions you have that we can answer, we're happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the question's for John.
Well, certainly, from what you've said, I'm sure the town council is poised to give you extend every courtesy, both financial and spiritual, to your project. So I haven't looked at that. There are exceptions to the bidding process. I'm not sure that the town even gets involved in the bidding process of a charitable organization that's affiliated with the town, but not really a town agency. So I'll be happy to look at that and do so according to your...
Town building, John, right?
It may be a town building, but the town itself is not actively engaged in the process, in the food pantry itself, as I understand it.
Correct.
But I will look at it, and I'm aware of your fast schedule, so hopefully I'll get back to you. I can get back to Frank directly.
Okay.
Report back to the town manager and to the council.
Do we need a lease?
We've had leases for $1 a year.
No, but I mean a lease proposed, or a lease spelling out all of the requirements that the town is gonna require, because it's not a town organization that we're leasing to. And so, I don't know what other towns do in regards to if their food banks are in town buildings, or if we have leases because of other town buildings. But I think that's something that we need to look at as a council, because it's an outside group coming into the building.
You know, and the other issue is the carrying cost of the building. You know,
Right,
my
those are
hope
all
and-
things that have to be,
You know, what our hope is that the town council would favorably consider the rent of $1, which includes the town paying for the electricity and the heat. And that's what we would be asking for. Because if our organization were required to pay those carrying costs, it would be difficult to operate with the money we would have to raise to not only pay those costs, but to obtain food and other goods for the citizens of North Branford. So that would be part of our request as well.
Well, do we know what that expense is for heat and
Yeah, you have-
electricity?
Yeah,
it's
it's like-
part of
You got a
it.
report.
Yes.
It was approximately 12,000, 13,000.
Those are old numbers. I
Right.
think you could probably safely, and that was 2011 or 12
No,
numbers.
you guys gonna put in new coolers and stuff like that?
I think you're looking at 15,000
Or
for-
anything? I mean,
Well,
where are you gonna
carrying
store
costs.
your perishables?
In Branford, there is a walk-in. Today, we're not prepared to put a walk-in in. However, we have had refrigerators donated, which I know are currently being stored.
Okay.
And
Just the point I'm getting at is if you get a lot of older units in there, you're gonna pull more juice than if you put in a new unit.
okay.
That was more energy efficient. I was just wondering how you plan on moving forward, because I'm sure this project is gonna grow. And I think you're gonna end up needing more refrigeration than you think.
I think you're right.
Because when I opened my restaurant, I thought I'd get away with a little two-door thing, and I ended up, the first week I opened, putting in a walk-in cooler. But
I don't
just,
foresee a walk-in cooler. I mean, I can visualize in my brain what Branford has, and yes, they do have a walk-in, but their population is so
Right.
much more so than ours.
right, they're about 4 times what we
Right,
are.
exactly.
Yeah. So you probably go with reach-ins or whatever? Okay.
I think so, at least initially.
Right, well, I can also keep my ears open, because I hear a lot of stuff being sold and stuff like that in the business.
I get calls all the time, I mean, especially from area churches or people, even as far as people that living in North Haven, who they come up with, I don't know, 5 dozen DiGiorno pizzas, what can we do with them, you know? I just think it's gonna be, a really good thing, this
Yeah, it's gonna be
pantry,
great.
and
And I think we got the right person,
I
little
know you have
fireball
the
in
right
there.
person, that is just clear. So,
Okay.
So what are your planned hours of operation at this point in time?
we haven't ironed all that out just yet, and I don't think that little bit of a detail is really the most important aspect. Really what's important is that we get in there and get up and going. I mean, I work in radiation oncology. I know there are people that live in this town that are not working, who have cancer, and they're struggling. And they cannot wait for this pantry to be open. And it hurts me to know that every day that we sit around and talk about things, although I know you've moved very fast, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I just know that people are hungry, and I'm not sleeping well, so I really would like to get going.
Well, the food banks are still open in town that we have.
Right.
It's not that we don't have any right now.
Right.
So I just want to make that they have not closed.
They're also quite limited.
Um,
That needs to be said.
So, but the service is still here. So if the people need it, it is in town, and I just,
In Branford, they're open 2 days a week. I want to say approximately 5 hours to 6 hours each day. And they have posted hours, and people come and obtain the food during those hours, in their daytime hours.
Mhm.
I'm not sure of the status of the Totucket Historical Society, but that may be an analogous situation, particularly for the lease. So we can look at that as well. I think they have a lease with us, and they're responsible for their liability insurance. But take a look at that.
Should we be looking at Branford's lease as well? If we can get a copy of that?
Sure.
I think,
I did call about that today, and the person who would know where the lease is on vacation this week. It's in the works.
And I spoke to the first selectman, and what there is in Branford is there's something called a Volunteer Services Center. And there's a master lease to the Volunteer Services Center, and then there's various entities in the center who have subleases. So the Volunteer Services Center leases directly from the town, and then I think there's the community dining hall, the Branford Food Pantry, and one other organization, maybe Clothing Bank.
Clothing and books. So there's, yeah.
We'll let him do his thing, and then we'll see what happens, right?
All right, and then I'll talk to John directly, if that's okay with the council.
Fine with me.
Excellent.
So I have a couple
Streamlines
of
it.
questions.
Yes, sir.
So if the town was willing to put the bill for the expenses of the buildings, and then I just want everyone here to know that, as you add coolers, and believe me, I know better than anybody on what a cooler costs, you can figure that as you're successful, the carrying costs are gonna go up. And, a small walk-in cooler for the month of July and August is $3,000 a month electric bill. So the 12,000's gonna, that's gonna grow. And then with all the lawyers in the room, I have questions about tax-free, or whatever, 501s or whatever you guys are becoming. So how do we, so if the town's gonna pay, 12 to 15,000 a year or whatever for electric bill and heat, they're really partners with you. So would there be, how do these businesses work? Is there an accounting, like, you're not a public company, but who do you report to for the accounting of a group like that? And would we want to make it a stipulation to lease a building for $1 and pay the carrying cost, that once a year we get the annual report from this group or something like that? So, go ahead.
So the accounting's to the IRS. It's a nonprofit corporation. It's a non-stock corporation that's organized within the state of Connecticut. We then apply for tax exempt status for the state of Connecticut and with the IRS. Once the application's through, we'll hopefully be granted 501c3
Okay.
status. At
Would there be
that
any
point,
paid personnel there?
paid personnel, no.
Okay.
And that's certainly not contemplated at the outset. If it grows, I don't know the answer to that. I would not want to commit to an affirmative never.
Even from a mass mission point of view, we have the opening, if it grew any bigger, and God, I hope it doesn't, but if it does, that we could have paid positions, but at this point, same thing. No, there's no paid positions for mass mission, and every February 28th is the closing of our books, and I do report and have an account.
I think what Councilor Rose is asking is, can we give a copy of that to the town
Right.
council? I don't see.
Yeah, absolutely.
From where I'm sitting, it's not a secret. I don't see any need.
I wasn't
No.
saying it was a secret. I'm
It's
trying
also-
to
No,
get
I-
an understanding
It's also
of
public
it.
record.
I-
It's an accounting of everything that the town does. So we're really, gonna be silent partners in this.
Well, if
Because,
that,
well, I mean, you know, and I talked to Frank about this, you could look at the building and say, okay, do we rent the building out? And do we find somebody that can move in there to somebody else, and does it bring in, you know, and I don't know what it could be, but it hasn't been pursued. See, at least, and I wasn't at the last meeting, but
Right.
as far as I know, from all correspondence, before this group came here, at least me on the town council had no idea that this was coming forward. So, and we all know that the town moves methodically. I was gonna say slow.
That would be a good
So-
word, though.
Right, so they move methodically and have to check and recheck, and it's, you know, like you can fall asleep while it happens. But that's the way towns work. That's the way government works. And so, you know, being the devil's advocate, is this the right thing to do? Or do you rent this empty building to somebody else, take the money and buy food for a food bank, you know? I mean, so if there is a cost to the town of the 12,000, or should the town sell the building and get out from under the $12,000 a year?
The budget for a Branford food bank well exceeds $12,000. And every single area town has a very viable food pantry supplying, this day and age, pretty much milk, eggs, cheese, and meat. This town is behind. It's behind.
Okay, but when I said that the town would be a silent partner with you, you looked like you didn't buy into that. So why, if the town's gonna pay all this money to maintain it, and you're looking for us to pick up the extra electric bill, which, believe me, if you're successful, is gonna be quite large throughout the summer. So in my mind, the town is a partner in this.
And I would say that if the food bank is the success that we hope it would be, the town council and the town of North Branford all benefit. At the last town council meeting, Lynn has statistics that indicated that 17% of our students get free lunch and breakfast, or just
No,
lunch?
No, free and reduced lunch.
Free and reduced lunch.
We, at the same time, other school systems are supplying breakfast, but we are not doing that. The summer program in Branford, free breakfast and lunch.
Do you know the percentage in Branford?
Yes, I do, it's 26%.
Right.
And that is the.
Kudos to North Branford. And I was dumbfounded to find that we
But
have the
look at the-
lowest percentage of free and reduced lunch in the area. Now, I don't know whether we have stupid
That's not
North
true.
Branford pride.
5% in Guilford. It's 5% in Guilford.
Okay.
And another statistic that.
Branford's 26%.
That's true.
What's East Haven?
But you also have a lot
I'd
of
heard East
trailer
Haven
park,
was around
you also have
40.
a lot of trailer parks and a lot of very low income
again,
housing.
You know, that in the world of schools, that's a low, on the low side number.
And the other statistic is that over 50% of the elderly, the senior population, lives in poverty. And I'm not saying that's North Branford, I think that's a nationwide statistic. I know what I'm seeing in the probate court, and it's not pretty. And I know I get phone calls from people who are elderly who indicate that all they're getting is Social Security. How are they going to pay their taxes, their homeowners, their car insurance, and buy food? And I would think that if this is as positive as we intend to make it, that people will come forward who really need it, and we can help those people, and we can all feel good about that. You know, I'm cognizant of that, and I hope in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the discussion we're having is it's $3,000 a month for the walk-in. How can we offset that cost and work together as a partnership? Because you're right, you are buying in. I would anticipate that our certificate of insurance would name the town as an additional insured, but you are buying in.
I agree with you agreeing with Al, because
See, Frank, you didn't want to go against either one of us.
because really, to the external world, this is going to appear as a North Branford enterprise. But at the same time, this can all be handled, I believe, in the insurance area with appropriate liability.
Yeah.
But anything that happens, anybody who gets a dead mouse in their soda, or a bone in something else.
Or a fall down walking in.
Well, I want to be a little more dramatic. But it could be a fall down as well. All of that, you can be sure that the town will also be named. But that's why we have insurance, and so that whole big area, I think we
We're-
can take care of.
Right now, we're carrying the insurance and carrying the building with
Nothing,
already,
right.
so.
So
Can we agree on this? How about this? How about we get this up and going? And I understand your concern. I mean, why would you want to spend tons and tons and tons of money? I think it's great, let's all come together and work on something positive. Let's get it started, and then we'll look at this electrical bill, and we'll talk about it when it happens. We're speculating what might happen. We don't know. We don't know what the electricity is gonna pull from A, B, and C refrigeration at this particular point. We don't have a clue, because this is all new, especially to me.
I think the thing we have to decide here is whether we're gonna go ahead and try and expand our program and do what we want, what I wanna do for the people of our town, like you said, our seniors. You didn't even mention the medicine they have to buy, Frank, on top of it.
No, you're
I
right,
mean,
you're right.
there are a lot of people who hurt, there's a lot of people who can't make it, and, you know, there's those of us who are very fortunate that we can pay our bills and do what we want to do, but there's a lot of people that can't. And we have to make a decision whether $12,000 out of our budget or $15,000.
See, remember, the 12,000's already there.
The
Right.
12,000's now, it could be significantly higher than.
That's
Here's
my
the-
only
well,
point is,
I run
you
a
know, we
walk-in.
have to be,
Maybe this
I
is the
run a
good.
walk-in
aware.
in a kitchen that's 100 degrees,
Uh-huh.
okay? And I've never gotten a $3,000 electric bill
But they're not
per
having a
month.
walk-in the first year.
Right.
Yeah, we're
All
not
right,
gonna-
well,
So-
I mean,
But can I say one more thing?
maybe this is a
No,
good
well-
place to put these solar panels there.
Yeah.
Well, that it could be, but how about
we
if,
gotta cut some trees to let the sun shine.
how about if we have a lease for the first year for the dollar in consideration for all of the work that they're doing to the building, the painting, the ramp, which is no cost to the town, so they're in consideration of that dollar amount that the town would have to do if we were gonna rent out the building, the ramp alone, you know, there's some things that the town would have to do in order to rent the
No, let me tell you,
building.
that ramp is not gonna be cheap to replace.
No.
Right, so if,
So how about 3 years?
How about
Well,
5 years?
we can start with a year so that we can see what the costs are. We can review the lease after a year, and if we are in agreement that it stays at $1, it stays at $1. But at least we build a history as to how much it is for running.
That's a lot of
If I might, I was gonna ask for 5 years with a renewable annual, but that's something,
Yeah, an option. in the
I mean, for
future.
1 year just doesn't seem enough for the benefits that are gonna be conferred at no cost to the town.
I mean, this
And I would,
all over the parking lot. I mean, it really is an environmental.
But,
that's
but
what
we're
we are
spending
really
money
cleaning
too.
up.
Yes.
We are spending money too.
yes, you are.
Like a 2-year lease. I mean, I would not agree to a 5-year lease.
All right, I mean, between 1 and 5 is 3.
All right, why don't we,
So, I mean,
why
that's
don't we
just
let him
a-
start
a-
working on this?
So I'll
and-
talk to
and-
John.
Well, they want an answer from us tonight so that they can go ahead and start working,
Well, I would
right?
like to start working because honestly, I came to the building one time just to take pictures and the door was wide open and the library people are in there already. They don't have a lease and they don't have insurance. I'm not going to hurt the building. I'm going to improve this building. This building is going to glow when you drive down Route 80. I'm telling you by the time I get done.
Yeah, well, that power washing and all that environmental stuff is not cheap either.
No, it's not, it's not. And that does include those, the benches that are out front.
Right.
The picnic tables on the side.
Right.
The man's even willing to trim back the trees. The roof is just total mold. That's gonna be all clean, I'm telling you. And somebody said something one time about the sign in the front being replaced. No, I love the sign, it needs to stay. It is the original town hall. We would have a separate sign that's up to code, wherever it is you say we should put it, made and created. No, but I want that to stay. I love the old building, just the way it is. We just want the opportunity to get in there, get to work, and improve it. That's all I'm asking.
So anyway, Rose, I would have to agree with them that to put in what they have to do, we should
That's
give
fine.
them 3 years.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to have a point of discussion rather
I
than,
agree.
so I'm okay with the 3-year lease if John wants to draw something up, but they really want an answer from the council tonight as to whether they can start this work.
As far as I'm concerned,
Do
we
we
can
need to
start.
make any
I'm
kind
on
of a
vacation.
motion to
I-
direct?
I'm only one.
The only-
Vacation.
Well,
one.
I mean, you'd have to allow us access
Right, that's,
Right.
You wanna
without a
access-
signed lease.
Yeah.
Right, that's our
Is there
discussion.
gonna be insurance on the building?
I can get insurance overnight, that's easy.
Okay, if there's insurance on the building, I don't see what the problem is, John.
Correct.
Okay?
And then, Michael, you had
What the heck are we
mentioned
paying you
that there's
for?
some programs.
But again, we had this conversation before. We're like partnering with them. The insurance we already carry on the building would cover that. Is that, I mean, we had that, where's Anthony?
I would think it would.
Would you agree with that?
Town buildings,
Right.
already insured.
Right, so it's already insured.
Yeah, it's
And
like a renter,
where it's
it's
the
a
North
renter's
Branford
policy.
Food Bank or the Branford, what was the name
The
of it?
food pantry of
Food
North.
pantry,
North Branford.
Branford.
Yeah, why?
I'm not, I mean, what sort of insurance would, other than protecting themselves, I mean, I
They
think if
need
they went
liability
there.
insurance on the food once they
Right,
start
but
bringing
for
food
them to
in.
go work in the building.
And you may want to be named as an
Insurance with your
additional insured.
contractors, whether they're volunteering or not, and,
Yeah,
you know, I don't.
certificates of insurance from them.
Yes.
We need
Right.
No,
certificates of
anybody who works on the property, they'll have a certificate of insurance. I mean, Matt's Mission redid the courtyard at Jerome, and the same thing. Everybody who did anything had to show a certificate of insurance. We're
So
more than
then
willing to comply with all the
covered.
rules. Not a problem.
So I guess the question is what are you willing to allow us to do now and under whose auspices?
I just
One
think
of
the
the- yeah.
one consideration, we have a commitment kind of with, right, Park Rec with the
Right,
gymnastics.
it came up at last meeting, and yes, the gymnastics starts tomorrow, runs through September, and that's a temporary. They can find a new location after that, but they're displaced because of the summer camp up at
So what are the
Stanley
hours?
T.
What are the hours and like
That's a morning 9 to 11, I think, something
Every
like
day?
that. I thought it was just
Once a week.
on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
I don't
once
think
a
it's
week.
every day, so.
So you can
So-
work around that schedule?
I'll get more detail on that schedule, but it's just
Unfortunately,
through
they've already
September.
committed to this, and it's kind of.
That's a disappointment.
You could move over to the old, rec center.
This is true.
You're not gonna do anything with that.
No.
That brick building.
And it's right 2 minutes away.
I mean, they'd have to make a change, but it's possible to do it.
If it's,
I just want, I mean.
I wouldn't have a
still-
problem with
I
it.
mean, we're still gonna be maintaining that building.
Right.
That probably would be a better building for that too, wouldn't it?
And they're
Yes, you are
That's-
maintaining the old community center
Yeah, the
until,
rugs there and
I
everything.
mean, that is where my daughter took gymnastics there when she was this big.
Look into that, Mike, getting it moved.
Oh, it's your decision. If
Yeah.
you say so, we make it happen. I mean, it's a temporary
It's actually a
displacement,
better
but they'll.
building for the kids to go
Probably,
into.
probably would be, yeah.
Yeah.
And they, don't- you know, again,
well, they can start the program there tomorrow because all the equipment
Right,
is there.
exactly.
Right.
And
It's
so,
just
so
un-
for tomorrow, they would have
That's
to be
fine.
there.
I gotta work tomorrow.
And now Frank,
Now Fran just realized he's gotta make another
There's a lot
move,
of
so.
equipment.
Well, because
hey,
then they can also let the parents know of
Yeah.
the kids that are in the program that
Right.
the following week it
I
will be
think,
in a different location.
yeah, it's not ideal, but it can be done. So
Yeah.
if that's the council's wish, yeah, we'll make it happen tomorrow. After tomorrow, after the first day, and we'll.
Is that okay, Fran? I'm sorry.
I mean, I had to bring that up, I'm sorry, but we already. All right.
As
So-
far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, nobody else said anything, but as far as I'm concerned, go for it.
All right,
I
so here we
think-
go again.
I think
So when you say go for it,
what
what
does
is
that
it
mean?
exactly?
We have to,
We have to-
who's the point person?
We have to vote, don't we?
I know, but I get excited.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, if the council authorizes me to, in effect, negotiate with Frank to come up with a document that comprehends what we've been talking about, then I'll have something to submit to you.
I'll move the motion that we give John permission to talk with Frank and come up with an agreement.
Right, but then the other part of it is the building renovation aspect.
And,
And
and clearly, I think, you know.
that
Tom-
goes through you,
Yeah,
the town manager, and then you can designate.
Yeah, because Tom certainly, and Tom being Tom Cowell, the building official, all, you know, the necessary permits are pulled and all of the code. I mean, it's just like we did Stanley T. Williams with the bathroom, but yet, you know, we're not going to cut any corners. It's going to be, you know, permitted and inspected and up to code. So
Right.
Right.
all of that has to run through the town in a
Right.
timely fashion, so.
I think they're aware of that,
Yeah.
that's what they're saying.
Yeah, they
they're
said
gonna
that,
go
and I
through
mean,
the-
so, but I'm just, yeah, again, it's just, the actual coordination, and we're clear about releasing, this isn't a town project, it is a private nonprofit that we are allowing them to make improvements, so we're not gonna look at bid process or anything like that.
Right. That's fine.
Okay.
Can I just raise one point?
You've been very quiet, Joe.
Please,
so-
Joe.
It's been troubling me. The enthusiasm generated by doing good for people is something that kind of overpowers the situation, and I think sways rational judgment in many instances. And while I'm all in favor of what I'm hearing here tonight, what I'm concerned about is we are, in effect, first of all, we're the fiscal body of this town. So while it's important that we provide for the general good and welfare of the community, first and foremost, our obligation is to watch the checkbook. And what I don't see us doing is watching the checkbook. We are writing a blank check. And that gives me pause. I'm not saying no, it just gives me pause. Is the number $12,000 a year real? Is that pure speculation? Is it based on something we have by way of past experience? And do we know it's going to hold? Or are we writing a check for $20,000? And is that going to escalate over the course of these 3 years? At the very least, while we may have an obligation to do good for the community, we've got an obligation to be responsible to the community and not commit to expend town funds without knowing that A, we've got it, B, it's under control, and C, we know we can afford it.
Well, see, number one is you can't overload that electrical system in that building, so there's only so much refrigeration they're gonna be able to put in there. That's the thing, whether it's a 100-amp building, 200-amp building, whatever it is. So that's another thing, there's only so much refrigeration they can put in there without blowing everything. So it's not like it's gonna grow exponentially. So I don't see it growing ridiculous amounts. If it
What
costs
are we
us,
basing the $12,000
It's
on?
On
the-
the,
Past
The past-
experience of running the
Here, and
senior
that's when-
center.
that's when it was occupied.
And that's when it was occupied all the
Occupied all the
time.
All the time.
So the costs have probably been a little bit less than that because we have been out of there, so
Right.
heat's been down in the winter time, so,
I
you
mean,
know,
it's most
maybe it
likely
wasn't
gonna
12,
grow
maybe it was
from there.
$10,000.
Yeah,
But
It's not gonna be
we can also
12.
provide in the
It's gonna be
lease
more.
Right,
a dollar cap
stipulation.
Need to know
Right.
that.
with regard to
I mean,
expenses.
this-
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Right.
This reminds me too a little bit of the CCM organization that we joined. It was cut out of the budget years ago because it was an extra expense, but now we rejoined it and we ended up saving, I think, close to $18,000 town residents with prescription program. So it was kind of a good thing to join, and the town residents benefited from it.
Perhaps there should be a dialogue, maybe between John and Frank,
Right.
as to what the limit of our contribution is going to be. And I'm not trying to strap the organization or prevent them in any way from doing what they hope to accomplish. But we really do have to understand that at some point, all the good in the world does no good if we can't afford to do what we're doing.
I would suggest that by the initial lease term being 3 years with renewable options, the improvements that are going to be done to the building would certainly exceed $12,000 or $15,000 the first year.
Right.
And I think that with the 3-year cap and then a review and hopefully a renewal, that we can control that, and your exposure really might be a year and a half when you factor in the cost of the improvements.
And they're probably putting 30,000 into the building to bring it up to snuff.
I just want to bring something up, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against it, I think it's a great idea, but it's apples and oranges. Just because they're putting up, could be $100,000 worth of work, the building's mothballed right now. The question Joe brings up is a valid question. What, should we commit to a dollar amount obligation towards running the building a year, and then above that cost falls on their
That's
nonprofit?
for Frank and John to talk about.
Huh?
That's for Frank and John to discuss.
You will get a document, obviously, there's not gonna be a lease until you review
Approve
it
it.
thoroughly and then authorize. And there may very well be conditions, in my mind, as I'm thinking, before that the dollar cap would be conditioned upon, for instance, those improvements being made in accordance with a certain timetable. Because obviously, if something goes wrong and you don't wind up doing what you say you were going to do, your eyes were too big for your stomach, then maybe that changes the calculus for the town in terms of what the town council wants to authorize. And there probably should be some kind of a suggested schedule with regard to these events happening, to make sure that this doesn't become stuck in the mud while the town council is sending X number of dollars. But I think all of that should be, well, we can talk about that, Frank, and we can spell that out in the lease, and there can be what are called condition proceedings before the town actually devotes any money, and it'll come back to you.
And I guess the other question I would have is, we would not be occupying the whole building, so somehow would the cost be prorated so that the other occupants of the building are also footing some of the bill? If that's what you decide to do, you know, over and above, I'm not sure.
Obviously, you wouldn't expect to carry 100% of the cost of the building, but we're not even talking about you carrying any of the cost.
Right. No, I understand.
That we're going to fund the operation of the building. What I'm afraid of is, right now, we have not pinned that down.
Yep.
And if it is $12,000, I think we're prepared to take that step, make that commitment, and say it's worth it. I don't want to be the naysayer here, but at some point, the dollar exposure to the town has to become a factor that controls how much is being done in that building by however many organizations.
Right.
So the other thing is, I do have a little bit of a connection to Mass Mission Fund, and just as they made a donation of $10,000 to help start up this cause, most certainly doesn't come close to what it will be. We earmark money every year, whether it be for kids to go to camp, night to care program. We have certain things that we do every year. And I'm thinking, if I talk to the board members, I'm sure that we could earmark some of the money that we raise every year towards the food pantry. If need be, if the costs start exceeding and getting all kooky crazy like you are afraid that they are going to.
All right, good.
Getting back to the size of the building, at the last meeting, is it, would the lease show, I mean, you guys should get so many square feet or a certain area?
Yeah,
Was that cleared up
I don't know if you've been in the
meeting?
building lately. The front of the building is partitioned off, and it's contemplated that the library would use that front of the building. The rest of the building, we contemplate utilizing, including the kitchen. So there is a partition with an office and another large room for the library to use, I think. And I know Mr. Hull is here, and I think I'm accurate in my description. I was there a couple of weeks ago. So it's clearly delineated.
Part of the building that you're using.
Yeah, the back the hall.
The hall's gonna be rented out.
No, we're talking about using the hall. The back of the building, the hall, and the kitchen.
That's not what we talked about the last time.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. We said we were gonna rent that out for parties and things.
Well,
I don't
We-
believe that was the case, for the mere fact that we did talk about gymnastics coming and doing what they were gonna do in the hall. And we didn't want to speak for Pam, but but Frank had spoken to Pam prior to, and then after the meeting, and she had no problem. She was full steam ahead with us utilizing that space and the two spaces in the back.
Well, she doesn't call it, council calls it.
No, I understand that. Because of the scale of the operation, the back room is too small. It really is, it's too small. And we were contemplating using the entire building. Now, I don't know if your understanding was different from ours, and you know, if it was, please tell me that it was different. I had thought that what we had discussed was the library would be using the front part.
The two
and we
rooms
would
in the
be-
front.
And we would be using the rest. But please, if there's a misunderstanding, that's why we're here to clarify.
And I know this to be true because I did have a discussion with Liz Kaplan prior to this meeting, and we've had several conversations about this, and she had at one point, even though the town council had said she could have this part and the office in the front, she thought, oh, maybe she would go in the back, and I said, it would break up the flow way too much, because the hall part would be for donation, storage, and sorting, and the back would be where it would be kind of like a grocery store, if you will, where people come and get their food.
And there's separate entryways for each part of the building.
Right.
So it just so happens that the way it's divided up is a perfect fit.
I think, and I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I think four-year lease agreement, pay attention, John.
I'm listening.
I think
I'm on
you should
vacation, I keep telling you.
Get a
this.
floor plan of the building, Franny can draw it, and, you know, call out whose is what, you know.
Yeah.
So then there's no question.
Well, there's no question as to what they want.
Right.
So get the geography straightened out, and that'll be submitted as part of the other terms of the lease, and see where we go.
Well, that's a pretty significant misunderstanding. I wasn't here last time. Either we are reserving space to rent out, or we're not.
Well, I
It sounds
remember
like-
the discussion being that, because I raised the part about, for the center part for gymnastics or park and rec, and how much revenue does that bring in, and how often do they use it, that part of thing, because I knew that we were currently running programs into that. And then that's when Lynn had brought up about that it wouldn't be feasible to keep them in there for the same reasons that she just stated. And then we also asked about how much rent has been generated, how often the hall has been rented out, and Anthony has told us that it's very minimal, that we have gotten rent money from it. So that was the discussion. That was the discussion as far as that center part, as to the viability.
So it sounds like if we concede the ability to rent out the hall, we're not giving away much, and we are making their program viable.
Right.
I'm
Right.
much more concerned with the costs and expenses than I am
Right, and that
with
was-
lost rent.
Right.
Well, speaking of costs and expenses, the other thing is, if there is some other entity in that hall space, it doesn't meet the criteria of the Connecticut Food Bank, and we would not be able to be affiliated with them. There's a certain amount of space, and when you talk about free bread, free eggs, free milk, and things like that, and buying food for 14 cents a pound, if you really want to talk dollars here, it's imperative that we are affiliated with Connecticut.
Plus, there's also plenty of rules on how you
That-
store
that
food,
doesn't
handle
include
food,
the
everything.
library piece
I
in the
mean,
front
it's
though,
not
right?
just.
Right, that's correct.
Separate.
Separate.
Right. You just can't, walk in and out of a place like that. But, like I said, I think we need to bring this discussion to a head finally, and,
Well, the way I understood it was gonna be the food bank in the library was gonna take a part of it. I wasn't
Right, that's
aware
what I
that we were,
figured too. That's all
we
I
were
had
gonna
last
rent the
time.
building
Yeah.
out to
Yeah.
anybody else, but
It just doesn't seem feasible to have
maybe
a
I
food bank and
misunderstood the
a
discussion. I don't-
few rooms in the back.
plus, let's face it, you can't even rent that building out in the shape it's in. It's not, in good shape.
We don't need to vote on that.
Nothing.
I guess whether or not we can do
Lynn
any
wants to get
work
in there,
in
that's what she
advance.
Yeah, and
My
that's
only
what,
concern is what
That's
yours
that's
is.
what I said about
Yeah.
30 minutes
Escalating
ago.
cost, you know?
I'm going by,
Yeah, but they're waiting.
I'm going by what,
There you go.
so the seniors were in there, the maximum bill
Don't call them
for
a good
oil, and our budget was $15,000.
Out of the way.
So, it could escalate.
Well, you have liability insurance.
We have not, we have a quote, and we certainly would not proceed without insurance.
Yes, and you'll send a copy of that policy when you get it, and that's when you can go in.
And start to perform,
Well, in the interim, we'll be developing a lease, which will, among other things, apparently describe the area to be assigned to the food bank, the costs for running it in terms of utilities, and a cap. Apparently, it looks like it's gonna be 3 years. That'll be presented to the council with options to renew as you've requested, and the council will consider all of that. And just like any other lease, we're going to require evidence of proper insurance where the town is named as an insured.
would you allow any work to commence prior to the execution of the lease?
Well, first of all, you'd have to have insurance. So,
Right.
you know,
Assuming there is.
I think that's a question for the council, but from a legal point of view, it really could be handled on the basis of insurance, because you're actually benefiting the property. It's not like you're, as I understand it, what the type of work that you want to start doing would be only enhancements to the property, not, you know,
Yes.
tearing things, whatever. I mean, but that's up to the council.
Although the
I mean, I
ramp-
don't expect that we have to, I don't expect
I
that we
think that's
can't get
more
a.
their risk than ours,
Right,
to do
yeah,
work
you-
on the,
Right, if you
Right.
authorize it to
Yeah.
be done, the ramp has to be done.
If we don't wind up agreeing on a lease and they took half the roof off or something, that's not a good thing either.
right.
But I don't expect that we can't put the lease together based on the comments that were made tonight in, more than a week or so.
Okay.
And then
But then we have to
whether we
meet.
need another meeting or not, we can certainly get it out to everybody.
John,
Yes, sir.
on a use of a property by a private entity, be it charitable or not, is there any susceptibility to a mechanics lien for work done on that building before it's leased to them?
I would think so, yeah.
Even
Do
if the
do you
work
think
is
a
donated.
municipal property can be subject to a mechanics lien at all? I'm not sure that it can.
Well, because of the complex nature of this, where it's actually, you're the one who's obligating the town in effect. If, it's not, we're really not obligated. The council is not obligating itself to these repairs. The mechanics lien secures itself against our property as if we were obligating ourselves. So that creates an interesting issue, that you're doing work on our property and a tradesman could seek to secure that, that payment by a mechanics lien, and the town is not interested in that.
Yeah, we could do a hold harmless with indemnity specifically for the interim until lease is signed.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
We could do some type of agreement in the interim until a lease is signed if she wants to get in and start doing work.
Why couldn't we just expedite the lease and get it taken,
That's the best way.
right?
I think that is the best way. I'm not sure what type of, who would be.
You're right.
You're holding us harmless, but what do you have for assets
Right.
to give us? And you're not, so let's just get this thing done.
I think getting access to the property, taking measurements, making drawings, whatever you might be doing in preparation for taking occupancy is fine. But once you start ripping out walls
No
or
one's ripping walls. I can tell you
Or
what-
whatever work, the ripping
Right,
out.
whatever it
the-
is,
The
the
ramp.
ramp.
I would
demolishing or replacing,
Right.
I'd like to have a lease in place when that happens.
Right.
I agree. The only thing I would like to get in to do next week, to be honest, is clean and paint the inside. I am not demoing any ramp, I can tell you that right now.
No. I don't, well, cleaning and painting doesn't seem like it's gonna harm much.
As long as you have liability insurance,
Okay, fair enough.
I would say it would be okay for the council for that limited purpose.
Works for me, I told you we moved pretty methodical.
Okay,
You've got 9 brains going a mile a minute here.
All right, so.
10, actually.
All right. So I just have another question. So what happens if the repairs are not to the level that the town council thinks is appropriate for the building?
Well, it's not the
Well,
town
that's,
council,
the
it's
building
building
official's gonna be
inspector and
involved.
To the building, okay. So
Right.
I just want to make sure that we go, that
Well, they
from
have
the
to do
outset that
that.
we're all
Yeah,
on
we
the
wouldn't
same
be able to
page, because
occupy.
contracts are for when things are going bad, not when things are going well.
Right.
So we just
Are
want to
you
make sure.
guys gonna be preparing any
No.
stuff? There's a, yeah, okay.
No,
So,
we're
like,
not,
the health department is
we're not
out of
serving
it at
hot
this point.
food. No, people will not be coming in for meals that will be prepared.
Okay.
That's what I'm for.
Good choice.
All right.
For everyone involved, trust me.
So is everyone
I'm good.
comfortable? Joe, you comfortable?
Good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Good luck.
consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just to remind Mr. Mayor, there is zero money budgeted this year for that.
Thanks, Ed.
We need you now.
Thanks, Happy.
That information
Well,
would have
well,
come
there
in
was
handy
money-
a half an hour ago.
Wasn't there money budgeted for carrying costs? No, oil?
So it was
No
shut
oil,
down?
nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, that would have been good
That would
information.
have been
Lights,
Half hour ago.
You guys are all touchy-feely, happy.
I asked where you were hiding.
Unremarkable.
That's not unremarkable.
There's your contingency account between tonight and that, you're shot.
Ant
So
filled
what
the
else is
scoop.
new?
All right, thanks. Thank you for, I'm gonna put, item 2, the bookstore library. I see Mr. Hull here. Did you wanna talk
Well,
about the book?
he's later on in
I know
the
he's later
agenda.
on, but did you have anything for the bookstore?
No,
at
sir,
all?
I didn't have anything to add, but I'm ready to answer any questions, and we have the chairman of the library board here too. But I don't speak for the Friends of the Library, but I would assure you, there was some discussion about how they were in there first and they didn't have any permits or whatever. Because it was a town building and
I was there.
I'm a town employee, I checked it very carefully before they used it and while they were using it. And when there was a little bit of hazardous work to do, not very hazardous, but there was some broken glass in there that was reported. And before they went in to do any more work in there, the Friends I mean, I went in there myself and cleaned that up. I figured I'm a town employee, I'm covered, it's a town building. So we were careful about it. And we do appreciate the chance to use the front of the building. But as I
And
say,
is
we,
this
we,
the division that they're talking about with you just getting the
Yes.
front portion? That works for what you want to do?
Indeed, yeah. And then the Friends of the Library is also a nonprofit entity. So they exist on their own. But in this preliminary thing that we were doing, I looked at it as a town building. I'm a town employee, so I was taking some
You
responsibility
don't have to
myself.
apologize, don't worry about it.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Before we get off this, so
Keep up
just
the
to be
good work.
clear on this, Anthony, so this $12,000
That was historic information, remind you, from 2010,
Right.
11, right, so.
that's not there.
It's not there. It's unbudgeted, right?
Right, there's no money budgeted.
Budgeted zero.
I thought that we were budgeting half for mothballing. Was I wrong about that?
We cut all the oil out, cut nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
So
Zero.
that building
Zero.
had been winterized, no water, no nothing.
Zero.
It was going to, this last year we did,
See,
and
Joe, you had a valid question.
the insurance is still
So
carried
zero
on it.
is the answer to your
So-
question.
The money that's
I had
budgeted
feeling
is
that
just
was
the
it.
insurance.
See, Joe, it took all of 2 minutes.
And we're still a landlord, I mean, we still have to take care of the building.
Right.
Right.
In some fashion.
I
But-
plow
but the-
in the summer, plow and,
You're gonna be
whatnot.
plowing it when.
But you're gonna have a lot bigger electric bill than they think there's gonna be there.
It really depends on the refrigeration, but honestly.
You gotta remember,
it's
they
not
ran
overall bad.
refrigeration with the senior center there too, and they made hot meals there and everything.
Yeah, they had,
Yeah.
they had ovens and everything else going,
Right.
so you're not gonna have that at the expense.
Right.
Yeah, but that was, they did 12 meetings, 15
Right.
meetings. It was quick.
Yeah.
You know, it was not a restaurant.
I know, but
Right.
every day they still have refrigeration.
Still gotta turn them
They
on and
had
shut them
individual
off.
refrigerators.
Right.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 6
All right.
refrigerators.
Next,
Old
next, let's go.
Okay. Let's see, proposed, item D, proposed ordinance 2014-2, chapter 40.
Mayor, I move the motion be it hereby resolved that the town council approves the proposed change with fire insurance recovery, chapter 40, as presented and sets a public hearing to be held on August 12, 2014 at 7:30 p.m.
Before you.
Wait a minute, what we need to do?
Did I read the wrong one?
No.
It's
it's just-
fine, but.
We need to talk about
The
this.
chief and myself are still talking about this, so
Oh.
I would request that it be tabled to the next council
Okay,
meeting.
I move to table.
Thank you.
All right, item D, proposed ordinance, chapter 40. I have a motion to table.
Well, we might as well table that because we were going to do the public hearings together, correct?
Oh,
So I'll make a motion to table that one too.
Item E?
Yeah, because
Okay.
the two public hearings, they want it
Right.
together.
We gotta vote to table it, right?
Both of them, I thought.
Yeah. Two separate, I have one motion from Deputy Mayor.
Well, how about if we
Wentworth.
make it in one motion?
We have one motion from the town attorney.
We'll make one motion to table item 12D and E.
Second.
Okay, moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth.
Streamline it.
Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yeah.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Item 13, new business, discussion and action. Item A, service agreement with Roger O'Brien, planning consultants. Mr. O'Brien, I believe, is here this evening.
Yes, I did invite him. He's in the audience in the back, and this, I just put on there for your consideration, just given the timing what we're going through and the number of things that we have going on, it may be, I think, very helpful to have an experienced planner who's served in various parts of the state of Connecticut for many, many years to help guide us through some of the projects we're working on. So, my concern is nothing, falls through the cracks, so to speak. And with this type of service agreement, we can, look at the workload and affordability in terms of 2, maybe 3 days a week, keep correspondence going through, helping with the redevelopment of, the Wallfield and 1599 Foxen Road project, those type of special projects, while we go through the process and allow the new town planner to get up to speed.
How many hours are we talking?
I'm thinking, a couple hours, maybe off the cuff, maybe 2 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe 8 to 12, something like that, or maybe just 2 days a week,
So what, 12, 15 hours, which is what you're saying?
Yeah, something
At
like
what
that.
rate per hour?
$90
I
an
just
hour.
saw him to say it. That's why I asked.
I was just curious about the overhead. What's the
Okay, I
overhead?
studied to be
Yeah.
a lawyer too,
I don't know.
Ask John, I drive him nuts.
Yeah, it's there in the agreement, in terms of Schedule A is 90.
$89 an hour.
90.
$90 an hour. Okay. And
Michael,
what were
you-
we paying the other person? Wasn't $90 an hour, I can tell you that.
No,
Right.
no. But in terms of what's there, like I said, getting, not bringing on full-time, doing just 12 hours. We go-
Because they're doing consulting work, they're gonna soak us?
So,
No.
did,
I'm
we
just
already
saying,
have
I think it's
applicants for the
affordable
job.
if we bite it off in small chunks and not do more than 3 days a week.
Well,
Is it possible that we'll have the new person in place by September 1st?
Why is it costing us $90 an hour?
That's what
One
it's.
I know
question at
what
a
the
time.
fee is, but I wanna
Alright,
know,
wait, one
I wanna
question
know
at a
what we're
time.
gonna get for the fee.
Let's- one-
That's what I wanna know for $90 an hour.
wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Back it up. There was the first question that Al had, right? What was that one, Al? Because we're getting.
September 1st, will the new planner.
That-
Yeah, there you
I
go.
thought we had 26 applicants and
We have
you're gonna narrow
25,
it down
right.
and then we're gonna look at them. So it's quite possible, and it ought to be able to be done by September 1st, we'll have somebody on board.
It might be sooner if we have a special meeting in July.
And we can do that too.
So this would be very limited
Yeah.
on how long we'd be using this.
Right. I said like a stopgap measure in terms of looking at assisting the Economic Development Commission, but also, planning and zoning, taking some of these projects that we have that are moving through, Sean's Farm, a few other things that are going through, just in terms of correspondence, reviewing, the technical aspects of it. I think it's a
What would they
very
be doing
short.
on the Johns Farm? That's an
No,
approved, that's an approved subdivision?
That's on the right one, that one's under construction. And actually, recently, you were authorized temporary part-time for former engineering assistant, and he's here 4 hours a day. He's doing the field work and.
Right, so at
that's
Johns
not-
Farms, you're looking at silt fence
You're
location.
looking at silt fence, doing
And
the,
that's
sort
pretty
of
much-
day-to-day thing,
yeah.
sort of helping me out in terms of when I'm covering the
Yeah.
planning and zoning.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make.
Some, in terms of hours, I try to give some thought to it. A lot, like the routine planning and zoning, the meetings and all that, I sort of got that, I think, in line. Some of the other, if it comes up, some of the legal, technical things that may come up, there may be some time that, necessary. I think Mike also talked about the 1599 economic development, trying to get that going. I'm not going to be able to put anything towards that, if that's a need. But like the basic.
But you're gonna be like attending the planning and zoning
I know, I'm
meetings.
attending the planning and
and-
zoning. I sort of got those in line at this point. I think sort of the regular routine, because that's that's an internal office thing. If there's something comes up and then there's technical, planning review required or something to make sure statutorily it meets the requirements, that, in my mind, is something that I may or may not have.
What is it
Are
we're
there
buying?
things-
Are we getting, is this somebody that we have the ability to call Mr. O'Brien and consult with him on the phone? Or is he gonna be here for set hours on given days? And these issues are going to be on his desk when he's here, and he's going to work on them? I'm not sure what we're doing here.
Yeah, I was looking at a combination of both, and at least having him in here, in the office, reviewing some of the files and correspondence. But like Kurt said, in terms of the planning component, Carol was helping a great deal to the Economic Development Commission. And, well, you know, agriculture too, she did a lot. And I'm just, you know, concerned that the pressure we're putting on Kurt, even though he's got Al in there, he's still doing some of the wetlands issues as well. And you know, my concern is just that, you know, not dropping things through the cracks. So having him on site to review with us.
But what are we
and
gonna
then-
drop through the cracks?
Well, you know, not so much drop through the crack. I'm thinking, you know, the
I
solar.
just don't wanna pay somebody $90 an hour for something we don't
Okay.
really have to do.
Application, I'll take the potential of rewriting the regs with the planning and zoning for storage of gas.
Propane.
Propane. You know, an applicant comes forward, that, you know, Carol was leading the way to guide the P and Z through that process. You know,
Somebody
and
needs to guide them.
I think, you know, we'll get through. I think that Roger has the background, experience, skill sets, also to take a look and review.
I'm sure
those
he's
type
got
of
the
things.
skills. It's whether I wanna pay him $90 an hour.
If you're interviewing 6 people next week for this position, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe
Could
you'll
I
have-
interest that $90 an hour?
Have a go at it.
Good evening, Roger O'Brien, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the City Council. Everybody's always confused. I don't get $90 an hour. If you look at that schedule,
I know,
it's
40 is for your,
$50 an hour, which is very similar to what you have budgeted for your town planner.
Right.
And then you had fringes and everything else in there. And so, as a consultant, you don't get the holidays, the medical. We pay our own insurance. We pay all the overhead.
Welcome
So
to
the
your own
total.
business.
So the total. I ran a O'Brien and Marmo for 20 years, and you know had to meet in office and overhead and pay my employees and so forth. So I assure you that it's not $90 going in my pocket.
I knew that.
And so I would hope that that would provide some consolation to you. As far as what will I provide, for 14 years I was a consulting town planner for the town of Orange. I was there some of the time if they needed me, so that customers coming in knew when they could speak to the town planner. And then I was on call for consultation. I attended the meetings. And so I have some experience. There was a few years back, many years back, for 6 months I was the acting town planner in East Haven as well, when the town planner was out. So I have some familiarity with the challenges of coming in. Don't want to chew up a whole lot of time, but at the same time want to make sure that you don't miss a beat, and you keep things moving. And in looking at, when I took a look at your approved budget, and I took a look at if we were to work 15 to 20 hours a week, we're under your budgeted amount. And hopefully, there will actually be a savings to you in terms of, I won't be here if you don't need me here.
I'm a great advocate of the billable hours, so I'm not going to be critical of that. But what I will tell you is we could very well be losing an opportunity if, perchance, a developer came along, somebody interested in bringing a business to the town, and there was nobody there to talk to. What do the regulations require? What do they have to provide to the town to get an approval? You sometimes miss that opportunity, and they're in East Haven, and they're going to give them everything they want to get them to relocate there. So we
Businesses
might be
haven't
being a
exactly
penny
been
wise and a
jumping
pound
in.
foolish to say we can get along for 6 or 8 weeks without a consultant on board. If we want to hire the consultant and get the person we want, we're not going to hire the person that Mike interviews next Monday or Tuesday. That person is going to come before us. We're going to talk to them. We're gonna take a vote on it, we're gonna make a decision. That process is hopefully going to come together by September 1st. In the meantime, we're acting on autopilot right now. I've gotten several emails about the Shantz Farm subdivision and that he's doing things that he's not supposed to be doing. I don't know whether it's true or not. That's not really the point. But there is a minimal amount of supervision and regulatory oversight going on in the town right now, through nobody's fault, but a confluence of circumstances where our zoning enforcement officer is gone, our planner is gone, and Bert Bennell has been out sick. I personally had a very simple question that, with the right person here, I could have asked, and I had nobody to ask. I talked to Anthony tonight, and he's gonna try to find out for me. There really is nobody to ask about anything in town right now. And I don't think it's an unwise expenditure to have somebody with experience and knowledge available, not necessarily on board all the time, but available on some sort of an hourly basis to deal with these issues, so we can do a proper search and hire what hopefully is gonna be somebody who will be with us for the next 20 years or more.
Just like the last 20 businesses that moved into town in the last 50
Well, I
years.
do know there is a few things on,
Right?
there are some things moving.
And I agree with what Joe said, because, like I said, I think the routine, like the meetings, the schedule, the notices, the handling that, and I mean, I can continue to do a lot of that, it's just from the process, but if something comes in that is unusual, or something big that someone really wants to talk about, and some of the components, and that could chew up time, that's, you know, as needed basis is what I sort of vision if we're gonna do something like that. And we don't know until we get there, depends on what happens going forward.
So what do we
Depends on
do?
what
We
happens
put a cap on the
higher
hours?
the town planner.
Do we put a cap on the hours or as needed?
I think Mike's got a proposal.
He does.
Yeah. So,
In the next 2 months, we could be out. And then we're
Unfortunately, my agenda wasn't bad today. I had to pick up the next day, so I didn't want to pick up today.
He doesn't have a cap on it.
I'm sorry, what?
There's no cap on it, though, right?
We did vote. Just, this is a state contract, doesn't mean that, like I said, in a sense, it's, you know,
I'll make that up right off the bat.
That's why you could cap the hours. Mike, are you interviewing all next week or at the beginning of the week? Or we may have a couple of people to bring to the council.
I've got the 15th and 16th scheduled.
What's that? What day is that?
That's, was that Wednesday, Thursday?
Wednesday,
Tuesday?
Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right, they're gonna burn it up. I mean, if you had somebody, maybe we could have a special meeting just to meet these people.
Yeah, right after that. On the next Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. That's
So
not a
we get
problem.
somebody on board right away and make a big difference.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You guys make a decision. I don't mind it.
for a permanent.
But I think the process of getting
Well,
a
I tell you,
permit.
honestly though, one thing that is true is I don't think we should hastily make a decision just to avoid hiring. I'm not advocating for hiring them or not hiring them, but I don't wanna make a hasty decision
No, me either.
just to
Nobody wants
save
to
the
make-
money of,
Nobody wants
you
to
know.
make a hasty decision.
We might, there's no guarantee that
Any of the applicants.
Exactly.
we don't
The
know if it's
applicants
gonna
you like
work
is a
out in
good
any of
fit.
the applicants yet.
The only thing I would say is, I wouldn't wanna pay a part-time guy to rewrite the regulations for anything. And I wouldn't wanna pay a part-time guy to worry about down on Route 80. You know, you already got the Yale doing their whole night, you know, it's like, let's stop spending money on trying to figure that out. Because, you know, we're looking at a guy that may be here 6 weeks. Like, he's not gonna solve the problem of what we do with that property. And we certainly, I don't wanna have a part-time guy rewriting regulations for zoning. I just
Agreed.
don't. So,
I think you're right, Al.
And that's smart.
now, having said that, and that would be direction to Michael. Don't give him tasks to do on those two things. If there's something else that, you know, that we need somebody for, but then Joe, on Chanta's farm, again, that wouldn't be up to Carol if she was here, or, you know, zoning enforcement officer, and, you know, Kurt, you know, would be watching a road being built and getting report. Is there third-party inspections up there on the road, or?
We're doing the road, the part-timer that we hired, and doing regular inspections on that. There's a third party that worked out, the bridge company.
Right.
So we have final sign-off. So they're gonna sign off. They
But
have
again, this
certification.
person can't help us with a
With that,
bridge
no,
being
that's-
built either.
Yeah, that's my office. We did get that email, and we are on the issue.
Now, having listened to him and read his resume, he might be somebody that you bring in that, you know, it's always good to, pick somebody's brain. You know, even going forward with, you know, the new person or something, like, you know, the guy's been at it a long time, so, you know, I don't know that we need him 15 hours a week. Then again, I'm not sitting down here and seeing who's walking in the door. But I also have been involved in town government an awful long time, and there's years when not too many zoning questions come in the door, you know, so for me to look at, okay, we got 5, 6, 8 weeks.
Well, I think we should be very diligent about picking the right person for the planning position. I mean, that's a
Right.
critical piece.
I
I
agree.
don't want
It
to
is-
rush
it
through
is
that.
critical.
And the cost of not having someone in place there to answer our questions could be detrimental to the future of projects. So I think we need someone.
Well, again,
I don't think we need,
we're saving the salary of the
exactly.
person who's not there.
I mean, I think having someone is important. Again, I think Al brings a good point of, we shouldn't pay that person to do something that's gonna be for the long term, because you'd want the planner to be
Right.
doing that, because that just makes sense for the town. But I think, I wouldn't wanna shoot ourselves in the foot by not wanting to spend some money for the opportunity to just have a person there. I think,
I don't think any major developments are gonna happen in the next 8
It-
weeks. That can't be
It's
handled.
short term, and, I mean, there really isn't a lot on the agenda in the summer usually anyway, you know. It's up to you guys.
Well, it's up to all of us. We need to vote.
Are we committing to a specific number of hours a week or a maximum number of hours per week with flexibility within that maximum?
I think we should, my personal is a maximum, and we have flexibility within that
If
maximum.
that works for Mr. O'Brien, that's what I would be
Well,
looking for.
again, something that Al said too, I mean, do we want to bring somebody in here who's going to be here for a very short term and let them start rewriting, zoning regulations?
Well, no, that's why,
no, I think,
that would be under the direction of the town manager as far as what he does, what the person does.
He's a resource for Mike and Kurt. They provide his assignments within the limits of whatever we approve as a maximum allocation of dollars. That's what I think makes sense, but if people disagree, let's vote on it and get it done.
Right. So I'll make a motion to give Michael the authority to hire him for up to 10 hours a week.
I'll second that.
And including the
Overs-
information we got in the discussion here as to what direction we want this guy to go.
How do you mean, Al?
Well, so that Michael doesn't put him on
To rewrite something.
Route 80, the old town hall, and he doesn't put him on rewriting regulations.
I mean,
There was a motion,
if-
second.
Yep, and is there any more discussion?
If I could, I think he'd be valuable to some degree on Economic Development Commission. The commission makes the decisions, but I think his input, given he's seen and worked in a lot of different towns and planning, I don't think I understand that no writing regulations long-term kind of impact, but I think having him give some input or review or look at least some of the economic development could be valuable, but that's my 2 cents worth.
We're giving you the discretion.
for oversight.
Yeah, think of it this way, you answer to us, he doesn't have to.
Okay.
I call the question.
Moved by Counselor Rose, seconded by Counselor Diamond. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitworth?
No.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
No.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
No.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
I can't count, but
Yeah.
it goes beyond one hand. What do we have?
6-3.
6-3.
It was 6-3.
All right, move on.
Bet you can count when you send your bills out.
Of course, it's billable hours
State of Connecticut DOT Master Municipal Agreement for Rights-of-Way Projects.
Yeah, this is the DOT's new way of doing business within the state of Connecticut to ask for this master municipal agreement should we in the future undertake, and obviously will be with different projects. They're asking for this sign off on this resolution, this process.
And what happens if we don't?
I don't know. They may hold up funding, it may jeopardize the process of funding, I'm not really sure.
Whose rights of ways are we talking about here? Is this like them trying to take a right
Yeah.
away from the town of North Branford or from the citizens of the town?
I think Kirk Bowman.
Apparently that's for, if they're doing, a lot of times they pay money for town projects. We did Queek Road, we did Mill Road. We did it under DOT's funding. They acquired rights away. They did it under an individual agreement for a particular project. And what these are, the state's trying to just get all these agreements in place. We agreed to one, we approved one last year for contractual, for construction type things and design related funding with the state. It's a standard 10-year agreement. Basically, the difference is if they have these all in place, then they just come in with a specific project letter agreement for particular funding for an individual project if it comes up. We may never even have a project that we even utilize it in 10 years. But they're just doing this throughout the state to try to get these in place. This is the way to do business. I think the answer to the question is, if we don't do anything now, I think at the time that we need it, if we have a project, they'll come back and require us to do it. But,
Is this
Has
issue,
John read this?
is the issue timing?
What is it?
They want to be able to act
It's
quickly, or is it that they just
very
want to designate
They
a person
want
to
this
deal
in
with?
place so that,
You
it's
know,
easy for them to put an agreement in place.
I wasn't
for a
asked to look
project.
at it, but I did look
That
at it.
takes six months to a year. They're trying to get these in place so that the basic agreement
You can't negotiate with the
format
state
is in
agency.
place. Then they
It's
come
not
in with
close.
this project letter agreement, which is supposed to be a very quick turnaround time when you actually want it. That's the rationale behind it. They're trying to basically long-term expedite projects. 'Cause when anything goes to DOT, I mean, you've seen it, in any project that DOT gets involved in, it just, the paperwork kills you.
I don't have much faith in the DOT. I don't believe anything they say, and we have a whole bunch of areas in town that prove my case. So I would say if they think they need this someday, 10 years from now or 50 years from now, they can come in then and say, hey, you guys have to sign this, but that's just me.
Kurt, would this apply to the Route 80 project for the bridge?
I'd have to generally, I don't think so, but that's a state project. This is
Yeah,
really
okay.
That's a
for
state project, not
municipal
state
project,
land.
state funded. If they're gonna do something on a state highway, they're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
Right.
This is something that we're trying to get funding for them. We wanna do it, we need their funding assistance, then we have to enter into these agreements.
It's like 30 pages. For all we know, we're gonna have crushed stone on both sides of the road throughout the town, and
But it'll be
everybody
way
signing
out.
this. And they're gonna say, hey, you guys signed it, it was in the small print. I mean, can you tell us what a benefit would be of doing this?
Again, this is just their new way of doing this. And again,
And it could
if-
change next year or next month, that they come up with a better way.
If and when we have a project that we need to have one of these in place, maybe we can just do it at that point. But basically, this is just the way they're doing this with all towns. They're putting these into effect, and then you come in for a particular project, a very brief amendment of the project legislation.
I don't wanna beat this, but I'm gonna try one more time. So like if it was Queets Road or whatever, is this for the state to acquire right-of-ways from the town or from citizens?
From citizens,
Okay.
you can go different ways on it, but
So
basically-
personally, I don't wanna sign an agreement that tells the state how they're gonna deal with the people of town. If we have a project that's coming up, I would much rather see it left to be dealt with with the private citizens and the state, and believe me, you still lose, but. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and read 30 pages of this tonight. So I'm not gonna vote on something that I didn't have time to read. But that's just me. The rest of you can do whatever you want.
I just have to say I agree with Al's observation. A little uncomfortable entering into an agreement, to enter into an agreement in the future now. That should be left to future town councils, town attorneys, depending on the project. And since there doesn't seem to be any sanction for not entering into it at this time, the better side of discretion here would be to, in my judgment, would be not to enter into something in advance and have them fill in the blanks afterwards. In effect, you're bound and they're not. So.
Isn't the simple bottom line answer, none of us can understand what the heck they're driving at here? Why would we even consider agreeing to it?
We haven't read it, so we pretty much do.
No, I read it, it doesn't make any sense.
All right,
I don't know what they're talking about here.
So,
All right.
can the action, do we have to take action, or can we, if we make a motion, we all vote against it, that it
I
doesn't
think
pass,
we
and
act
then
like
it
the
doesn't?
state, do nothing.
Do nothing.
Just table
Okay.
it. Do something.
Right.
Well, if we
We'll never
table
hear
it, then
about
it
it.
stays on the agenda.
Yeah, but that's right,
Yeah.
you didn't vote against it.
Right, so we just do nothing.
Do nothing.
Next.
Okay, item C, South Central Regional SWAT Compact.
Yes, this is a compact that we've, or the town has been involved in for many years. Lieutenant Ripa came to see me about, he's the point person contact with that. Apparently, the compact membership has grown from 3 to 6, and so they're asking the town to sign this, and it's the same language. The only thing that's changed are the new member towns, so that they'll have more resources within the compact to draw from with respect to the special weapons and tactical teams. So rather than just signing off on it, that, you know, pass it by the council to make sure that you're all comfortable with that, and for John to review it and take a look at it. It's the same thing that's been in place for, I'm not even sure how many years you've been participating, but there are no.
Have you seen the predecessor contract?
It's
You have
attached.
it out there?
It's attached.
It's attached,
Okay.
yeah, 2012. And in fact,
Is there a cost to belong?
I think there is a nominal. I don't have that figure. I think it's more of sharing the resources. And again, it kind of, this organization ties in with another one that they're also looking for this, the traffic unit is part of the same group. And this is the group that we hadn't given any money to, but recently the council said we'll give the truck to in terms of our contribution. So I think it's very minimal, but we participate and share in the resources. And I did not put that other traffic unit in the agenda in time. It was an oversight on my part, I apologize, but that is at your desk as well.
We're gonna.
Is Madison a new town in here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Madison, Guilford,
Yeah.
and Branford.
right.
Now, that traffic unit, does that mean police from other towns come in here and do, like, write tickets and do traffic stuff?
No, it's the way I understand is that traffic accident reconstruction team, and that's
Okay.
why they were looking for the truck to put all their equipment on,
Okay.
the lights, generator, all that
Okay,
stuff.
because I know in the past, we've had Branford police in town doing radar and things.
Oh,
Years ago, I got stopped by one.
Really?
Yeah, not that I was speeding or anything.
So Anthony, is any cost related to this part of the police department budget, or is it a separate cost that comes through?
The only cost that's involved is there's training costs, that they train as a regional team. So some of our guys would incur the training hours, whether it's overtime or straight time. They have a certain amount of hours in their contract on a straight time basis, some is overtime. So there is some training costs involved. There's no out-of-pocket cost like to a dues to an organization,
Okay.
but there is training costs, and there's ammunition that they burn when they go train, things like that.
So that's all built into the police department's budget?
That's in their training budget, correct?
Okay.
So let's say that one of these new towns that joined happened to get a new toy that would drive through this building. And it's gonna cost money to maintain. And I see they're in this group here.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, it's pretty impressive. But, you know, by joining this, now do we start having to pay, or is that gonna come down the road that we have to maintain this toy?
Well, I think each town maintains its own assets.
Right, I think it's similar to, if you look at the lighting trailers that the towns got through Homeland Security. Each town maintains their own emergency lighting trailer, but if another town needs it, it's shipped over, like we get for the Potato Festival. So each town houses this regional asset and maintains it, and then it's used amongst the various towns in the region at no cost. So I think you maintain your own property, basically, and then it's available for the use of other entities.
We can go drive through some buildings, huh?
Madison can.
Let's go.
They could drive right through this building. And you can be sure they'll be practicing to do that.
There you go. Anthony, I can-
However, if it's destroyed out, we do share in the cost of replacing it.
That's what I wondered.
We did that, yeah.
Okay, item D.
Well, do we have to vote
We're
on
gonna
this?
vote on that?
Yeah, just to authorize me to sign and execute
Did John review it?
I make them.
Yeah, I looked at it, it's,
It's fine,
you know,
standard.
it's the
I make
same
a-
agreement substantially as
I
what
make
we
a motion
signed in the past, which is attached.
to authorize the town manager to sign and execute the South Central Regional Special Weapons and Tactics Team Mutual Police Assistant Compact.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Fawnin.
Who's the board, since we're, who's the board of these things here? It says that any town that wants to withdraw, can, any municipality seeking to withdraw from the team shall do so in writing to the board. So who's the board of the?
Probably all the chiefs in the town, I would think.
It's the participating chiefs,
Yeah.
it says in here.
Participating chiefs, that's in here too somewhere.
I would like to hear from the police commission before I voted on this, or somebody that knows more about, I mean, this is just a standard renewal? I don't
Yes.
remember
We just
signing
added
this in the
towns,
first
that's
place.
all. Yeah, I remember, we had a SWAT agreement with North Haven and somebody else, another town.
I thought it was two copies.
No, you stayed with me.
The old contract is in here.
I
It's
saw
identical
that,
to
yeah.
the signature page.
Yeah, we did it in
I-
2000.
Basically, we're just
remember.
adding towns to it.
Right.
Have we had any experience under this agreement, or under the previous agreement? I mean, I'm asking if anybody in the council knows, because I think Don's point is well taken. I think the police chief or the commission, we don't know if there's been a bad experience or not, unless we can assume that this was brought to your attention through the police commission or the police chief.
It was, it was brought by
Yeah,
Reed.
with-
Well, he was brought by an officer, and an officer can't bring stuff. To us, the police commission should be bringing stuff. I don't believe an officer should be bringing stuff to the town council. Am I wrong?
Well, I can tell you, it was not
Yeah.
discussed at the last
No, you're not wrong.
police commission
Unless he
meeting.
was,
Yeah,
it was.
somebody
No,
else.
I don't remember this coming up.
So then I
Unless they had another
agree
meeting, I
that
didn't know about
if
it.
the police commission wants to join this, they should be the ones asking us to join it.
But we're already in it.
You're in it.
Yeah.
We're already in it. We're just
Well, we
adding
know
three, we're just adding 3 new
But-
towns.
But maybe we should have asked them the last time we signed it, is what I'm saying, but not just me.
Yeah, I agree after what we went through with SEMA, some of these
You know.
other regional things. I mean, I don't know.
Just to hear from somebody from the commissioner, or the chief, or somebody
I don't
on it.
see an
you
issue.
know?
Well, but Lieutenant Reba brought it,
But he's not,
right? Did he bring it to you?
Exactly, he brought it, and he's a representative that's been working with them, and many other officers as well, and my impression was they're very happy with it. In fact, they are excited about the fact that it's growing,
Right.
so that they can share
Share
resources
resources.
and
More toys
reduce.
to play
So they
with.
can share that new toy that Madison got.
Right. And we have that trailer that we
we have
bought.
one too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just the tools, but the officers and the
They all wanna
manpower,
ride in it.
the manpower, so to speak. No one had said anything contrary to, and that was this is just a, sort of a routine, language has not changed, they're very happy
Right,
with it.
nothing's
Nobody
changed, they
says-
added 3 towns.
The police
I know.
commission doesn't meet
Huh,
on this.
3 towns.
Right, but I think the point, like a point of order, Michael, I don't think a police officer or even a police chief should be coming to the council without the police commission, the way our government is set up, coming and asking for something.
Okay, and I can tell you, the police commission does not meet in the summer, so, and I know it wasn't, I was at the last meeting and it was not discussed.
They take the summer off for fun.
That's what I'm saying.
I heard about people
This is
that do
very
that.
serious stuff. I'd like to talk to them a little bit about that.
Okay, so why don't we table it?
And
I'll
bring it-
withdraw
and
draw
I'll
my
bring-
motion.
And I'll bring it back to the police commission.
Right, because the last time it was signed was in September, so this way they can discuss it
That
at
must be
their,
good till September.
I'll
their
bring it back.
September police commission meeting, and then it can come
I will bring
back.
it back.
Yeah, I mean, just read Article 6. I mean, there's quite a bit in there about reimbursement and liability. And
So if you can bring
I will bring it back.
the tactics, the
just 'cause
SWAT,
we signed
and
it the
also
last time.
the
The traffic.
regional traffic
Doesn't mean we
unit, bring
should
both
have
of
and
those.
for town manager.
Signed by an interim town manager.
So I withdraw my motion, Joe, do you withdraw your second? Okay,
All right,
move on.
so we're not doing anything. Okay,
Enough.
let's see, designation of official town depositories.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move the motion be hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council designates as official town depositories the institutions listed below and authorizes the town manager and treasurer finance director to enter into necessary agreements with each institution. Bank of America, Citizens Bank, First Niagara, HSBC, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, People's Bank, Pershing Bank, AXA Advisors, Rockfield Bank, a division of the United Bank, Royal Bank of Canada, Capital Markets Division, TD Bank, Webster Bank, and Wells Fargo. Is there anybody else left?
Second.
Second.
I think with all those banks, we really had money.
I don't have to wait until 12,000.
Yeah,
We're just
wait till
moving
we
it
get
between.
We get the electric bill.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, I believe it was seconded by Councilor Angeloni. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Item E, animal shelter, Donna. We sent the update. Good evening.
Hi. I don't know if you have any questions for me, or I can provide the statistics and what we've been doing. And just wanted to say, Mayor Candelora, that we were sorry that you couldn't come to the gala.
Yeah, I had 2 things that night. I'm sorry I missed it.
Okay, well, we brought in $20,000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. And we had over 200 people there, so it's a huge success.
Great.
We're having, in May we had a rabies clinic. We've been doing fundraising also at Jewish Store Alex Anani. We brought in $500. We're going to be at the Madison Festival on the town green in July. I believe it's July 12th. We are going to have a booth at the Potato Festival, obviously in North Branford. We have our Woof Stop coming up in August. It's WOOF. Last year we were able to raise $5,000. I just want to give the statistics since January to May, because I didn't mention any of this at our last meeting. Just kind of give an idea of how many animals come through the shelter. They brought in 10 cats and 16 dogs. 10 of those dogs were redeemed. 4 of those dogs were adopted, and only 2 cats were adopted. It's somewhat easier to adopt a dog. I don't know why. I'm a cat lover. Of course, I'm a dog lover also. We had 85 complaints that the shelter had to come out for.
85.
Can you break that down for North Branford stuff?
That is North
That is North Branford, 85
That's from
complaints?
January on, you know,
Okay.
barking, you know, dogs roaming, people being abusive, especially in the cold season, leaving their animals tethered to their dog poles. That's been, you know, quite an issue. That sort of thing, but there's been 85 of those since January. We've had adoption events at Petco, Agway, and Pet Value. They've had an ongoing animal camp held at Young's Pond, and 30 kids at $100 a clip went to the camp, which took place a few weeks ago. We're going to have 50 more in a couple of weeks. There'll be another session. So, and that's a good way, and they have wildlife experts come, and they talk to the children. They have dog behavioralists. So the children learn, and they're between, I think it's 4th grade and 7th grade, but the children learn how to interpret an animal as far as the presence of an animal. You know, if they're looking at a dog, you know, a lot of people tend to just pet a dog. So these children are learning ways to approach an animal in a safe way for the animal and themselves. And it teaches them humane education. It teaches them about wildlife. So I think that's extremely important. And let's see.
Was it May?
Oh, Mayor Candelora. Oh, is that me? Sorry about that. Laura Bourbon wanted me to ask you, we want to have a fundraiser in North Branford. And she thought that maybe you could provide a location for us.
Al's house?
The farm. What
Well,
type of a
what type of
Well, you know, I
fundraiser?
think it's important to, because to be honest with you, I think some people in North Branford, a lot of people in North Branford don't realize that we share the Branford Animal Shelter.
Mm-hmm.
When I was going for, when we had the pasta fair, I was going to different restaurants. And you could tell by when I asked for their contribution and I told them who I was, and then we share space, they were very surprised.
Mm.
So I think that this will be an opportunity to let the people of North Branford realize that they do have a place, if need be, to bring their animals or a call of help. And, you know, also, not just for exposure, but funding. We're always looking for money to help the animals and offset what money is given to us by the town of North Branford and obviously the town of Branford.
Yeah. And what type of space or what are you
Well,
looking?
how about these, is it the sportsplex? You did mention that to Laura. That's the
Okay.
reason I said.
All right.
You can think about it.
Yeah.
And let me know.
Okay.
We can adopt a motion approving that.
That'd be unanimous.
I don't know, I wanna look at the electricity cost.
Oh, no, that's-
Sounds great.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And lastly, as you know, I coordinated the meeting with yourself, Mayor, and Mike, and Anthony, and those members of the town of Branford. And I was happy to hear that things went well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that you feel that way.
Oh, yeah. I
You were
mean,
happy with what was
yeah, I mean, we learned,
explained as far as what the money is needed
absolutely.
for.
I mean, we learned a lot more, and, you know, all of us up here have learned a lot more. You know, as Joe had said before, you know, being the fiscal responsibility, you know, we weren't aware of the cost of the shelters. We haven't had any report, so, yeah, it's been good.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody has any questions for me.
Oh, good. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for coming. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Item F, library requests. Item 1, hiring of a part-time staff.
This hiring is something that was discussed briefly at budget time this spring, when the council said to me, do you have enough staff to do the Sunday openings that we've budgeted for? And I said, you've given us a budget that's sufficient for that, so we have enough hours in the part-time, but we might need another body or two to work those hours in order to do the more demanding schedule. So that's what we're asking for. This wouldn't change the budget or the number of hours that the library has at all. It would simply add a person on the staff to replace one that we've lost this year so that we have sufficient bodies to do this more demanding schedule. One of the conditions, of course, of whoever we hire part-time here would be that they would work on Sundays. So that would be a big boost towards having that be successful. But once again, it doesn't change the budget or our expenses whatsoever. So we would be asking for the authorization to hire one part-time library assistant, the current salary rate being $11.96 an hour.
I make a motion to approve the hiring of a library assistant.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Angeloni, seconded by
Pick one.
Don't matter.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth.
There you go.
Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
All right. Item 2, library expenditures, gift, trust, and monies.
Yes, these two are relating to this expenditure of private money for the libraries. The first one, the trusts. You know, we've all talked about the trust quite a bit, especially with the board and the town council finance committee. Bringing the trust expenses under control, gradually reducing them year by year, and also getting away from the spending of trusts outside of the normal budgetary process. And we have done that. This past fiscal year, I don't think we had one single expense from the trust, other than the placing it into the main budget, which is what you do every year. But it is occasionally going to happen, and this particular expense is a fairly minor one, but it's like the little tag ends of the building project, things that weren't done then that really need to be done. One item, I guess you don't have the details. I can give you the details. There are 30, let me get my glasses so I can read what I got here. 30 black steel card holders. They would hold directional signs on the end of the library shelves at Atwater. We have nice signs on the ends of the shelves at Smith now, but Atwater has handwritten paper signs. There would be a small desktop to add to the circulation desk at Atwater to make it more usable by a staff member in a wheelchair. She works there now, but this would make her job much more functional at that place. And the third thing is a floor standing cigarette post. So I don't have to send my staff out every morning with a broom for the cigarette butts that the kids leave when they hang around outside the entrance. These are relatively minor items, but they're part of the building, and it's appropriate to spend trust money on this. The board has approved it. There's a motion from the board that's in your materials. So what we'd be asking is from the council, because this is the proper way to do this now. If we're going to spend trust money that hasn't already been approved as part of the budget process, we're supposed to come in front of the manager. It starts at the board, then it goes to the manager, then it goes to you, so that's what we're doing here. To ask for an expense of up to $600 for these various items for the Atwater building out of the Atwater Trust.
I'd like to make a motion to expend up to $600 from the gift trust fund to the library to pay for the expenses.
Second it.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wentworth, seconded by Councilor Fucy. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
I'm not so sure that getting the cigarette butt holders is really gonna solve the problem of your staff having to sweep up, but it's a nice attempt.
We'll try. The third thing is expenditures from gift funds. There's two main gift funds, as I explained here. One is from the Friends of the Library. The other is a general gift fund where gifts come from various sources. These things have never come before the council. By the law, they really should. But believe me, you don't want each individual one coming in front of you for a vote. That would be about 40 votes a year. And you might be voting on $6.91 at Big Y for refreshments for a children's program. So what I talked to Mr. Paulus about how to handle this, and we thought that it might make sense at the beginning, the early part of a fiscal year, for the council to make a general motion approving spending up to a certain amount from gift funds for specific library purposes. And that's, you have a library board motion in front of you that spells that out too. One thing to reassure you is that if we don't make that amount of money in gifts, we can't spend it. So if you authorize $6,600 is what we're asking, it goes along with the average of the last several years. If you authorize that amount and we can't fundraise that amount, we can't spend it. So it's not like you're stuck for anything. We have to make the money in order to spend it. The money that we make goes directly into town accounts that are held by the finance department. It's not something we do off on the side. It all goes through the finance department. If I want to spend it, it goes on a request for check or a regular order form. It goes through the finance department in very proper form. We're just looking to make it more transparent so that you folks are seeing exactly what we're doing with it. So that's why we'd be asking for that motion, which will be to approve up to $6,600 in this fiscal year from the gift funds and from the Friends of the Library Fund.
I make a motion to approve the expenditure of up to $6,600 from the Friends of the Library and the general gift funds for the 2014-15 fiscal year.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Angeloni, seconded by Councilor Hodgkin. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, item G, possible formation of the ad hoc committee for the Agricultural Commission.
I'll take that.
Okay.
So, I know at the last meeting, or sometime it was brought up about some, basically petty cash that's, brought in on, the tractor pull events, the hay rides and all that stuff. So, since that meeting, a few of us have been working with Cliff Potter, who's done a great job with it, and, Anthony and the town manager. And, so, tonight we met before the meeting and, came up with what we thought was a solution. Cliff had been doing a great job with, handling this minuscule amount of money, but he's, turned it over to Anthony, and Anthony's gonna handle it then, because he, will do a remarkable job. And believe me, Cliff had done a remarkable job. But in doing that, we, if we don't wanna lose Cliff, because if we lose Cliff, we lose basically all the tractors and everything that come to this event. So, being kind to Cliff, but not letting him off the hook, we need to make him I gotta remember what we called it here, the event planner, or event administrator, or orchestrator for the Ag Commission.
Event coordinator.
There you go, the event coordinator for the Agricultural Commission.
Right.
CAC, yeah.
And this way, then he can come to Anthony without bothering us and do what he has to do to make this thing work.
I'll second it.
So,
All right, moved by Councilor Rose, seconded by Councilor
that was a
Busey. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hobson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
yes. So, having done that, I do want to, commend Cliff for all that he's done for this, and I take my hat off to him, because I run a pull or two a year at the farm, and it costs me money to do it, so where he's able to come up with a few dollars,
Right.
Yeah.
keep up the good work, Cliff.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thanks, Cliff.
Okay, item H, contingency appropriations.
Need a motion to reinstate the building official to full-time status?
What you folks did was you adopted the budget with him in a part-time. Subsequently, you made a motion to revert him to full-time, but the money never followed.
So this is the difference between the part-time and the full-time position?
Correct. Correct.
And it accounts for all.
3 accounts, both full-time,
Yeah, okay,
part-time.
so it's the total
It's
cost.
the net effect, exactly.
Okay.
I'll move to reinstate the building official full-time salary with an additional cost from contingency of $48,081 for the upcoming fiscal year.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Fawnin, seconded by Councilor Angeloni. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Item I, tax refunds.
I make a motion to approve the tax refunds as submitted.
Moved by Councilor Angeloni, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wentworth. Roll call.
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Wentworth?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
There was one item left at our desk, which was the South Central Connecticut Regional Traffic Unit.
Yeah, that-
we
And
can
we're
combine
gonna,
that with the
we're
other
gonna combine that with the other one and.
Yeah,
table
Marie's
it,
gonna take,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
I just have a question, since we don't have finance committee anymore and there's no finance report here, but this is a finance question. On the bathroom project for the high school?
Yes.
Because we approved X number of dollars and given the report that they gave tonight and they don't have any cost, and if they run over, how does that get handled?
Well, I would say it's like any other budget, have to come before you folks for additional appropriation.
Okay, so with that being said, Mike, if you could send an email to the superintendent of schools just to let them know that once they start getting their bids in or their quotes to do these bathrooms, if they exceed the dollar amount that has been budgeted, they just need to come before the council.
You know, Rose, I got a question, and maybe I misunderstood. When they did that, I thought they were just gonna be taking the bathrooms and just kinda like
Well, that's
doing
what they thought
a little
too.
facelift, but now they're talking about making handicap access. Did the building official or somebody go in and tell them that they had to do that, or they just, is this something they're doing on their own? Does anybody know? I mean,
Well, the way Don's reported,
Uh-huh.
a student coming in, I guess that may require some special services, and that's what's kind
yeah,
of driving it, I think.
he said he could do that fairly easily.
Well, right. At our communication meeting that we had last month, the superintendent reported that basically it was just a demolish and replace
Mhm.
to upgrade the facilities, and that they did need an architect. But between that communication meeting and the Board of Ed meeting in
This came
June, it was stated that they did need an architect to come in, and that's what was going to add to this project. And, you know, if they could use it off the state bid, they would use the architect, and that's why they're using Tom Hibbert, who they've used for the roof project. So I think the project became a little bit more involved than what they had originally anticipated on there. And that's why they're not sure if they'll be able to get them all done, but they will have the ones operational that they need for the students coming in. And then I guess they'll just work on them through the school year.
I was just curious.
Yeah. It was all based on their recommendations originally.
All right, item 14, citizen statements, petitions. Okay, having none, I have a motion to go into executive session. I think we should go into executive session with CMed first, maybe.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to
With the
adjourn to
fire
executive session, including the town manager, town attorney, and the fire chief
And does
for the CMed.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Angeloni, seconded by Counselor Fawnin. Roll call?
Mayor Candelora?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Caprio?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Cronin?
Yes.
Counselor Fucy?
Yes.
Counselor Hodgson?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?